What is going on, Casually FC? Welcome to another call-in show where you guys get to come on 20 minutes into the stream to have your say about the topic that we're going to be discussing today. And it is 2 days after the aftermath of the Battle of Mid, in which we lost a great battle. We lost many fans to the Poch Out Brigade. Including, I think, most of the panel. But we'll ask and I'll gauge where you guys stand with this now that it's calmed down a bit. But before we go ahead and do that, guys, thank you so much for being here. I know it was a little bit last minute. I'm just playing it by ear because I started a new job, and so we're getting adjusted to the new schedule. However, I did say we were going to do a call-in show this week, and it happened to be on Friday. So if you're here, big up to you guys. Be sure to smash up the like button if you haven't done so already, because it does help out the channel and its growth. Be sure to also hit the bell notification so when we do a little bit of a spontaneous stream like this, you are notified via YouTube. If it works for you, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, you can hit the bell notification, subscribe so you do get noticed as well when we do go live. And also be sure to check out the links in the description below for all the other types of content that are available for you guys, including my Linktree, which has my personal YouTube where I do gaming on there, my band, all other stuff on there. Also be sure to check out the Twitter. It's down there in the description, as well as the Discord where we do watch alongs essentially, and also just banter and discuss Chelsea for all that fun stuff. Also, be sure to check out the comments section down below. Be sure to let us know your thoughts on everything, how you feel. I would like to see where the audience is at so we can gauge this and, just have a discussion in the comments section below. And then last but not least, anyone who is in the chat, big up to you. And if you're a member, I hope you are enjoying the emojis. Big up to the members. There are 4 different tiers you can be at when it comes to membership, starting at 99p. And all that stuff has different perks, different levels. And yeah, go check it out and enjoy. But big up to the panel. We got Real Chris, Scott, Oliver, and Ahmed, who is currently backstage. He'll come on and eventually have his say on things. But as usual, guys, with the call-in show, we're going to discuss the topic. We're going to get a little bit of a feeler and a gauge out where we're feeling with the whole Poch situation, the board, and Chelsea. And in about 20 minutes or so, we'll let out the link and start letting you guys pour in and see what you have to say and discuss with us and, really vent out your feelings if you must. But, or maybe even, debate with us if we're wrong. But I guess to start things off, it's really looking at the situation and seeing what the solution is. It's 2 days after, and I still feel pretty much the same that I feel after the match, where we discuss Poch, and I'm still with Poch out. I just don't think it's going to happen this season. I think this board is going to give him time to a certain extent. Obviously, if we're going into relegation form, or we're near the relegation zone, I should say, then they'll pull the trigger. But I don't think Poch is going to let that happen. I just don't see Poch being the manager that's going to garner the respect needed to get this team to react consistently. And being that it is a young club, we'll discuss the youth aspect of it, but also, with Poch, I'm still Poch out. I just don't think he's the competent manager that I was made to believe he is, especially after seeing the decisions that were made in that Man United game in terms of tactically and substitutions. So I'm fed up with it. I'll cope for the rest of the season, probably, just to see where we end up and what players end up improving as a result of Poch being here, because that's one of the few things I can be excited about. But when it comes to results, when it comes to a good finish in the table, and even the cup matches, the tournaments that we're in, my expectations are low, is where I stand with this. So, Scott, we'll start with you, man. Where do you stand? Are you still feeling the same you felt earlier, 2 days ago, I should say, after the match?
Yeah, I'm still Poch out. Nothing's changed. yeah, I don't feel that he. I said I still feel the same. I don't think we're in a position where there is going to be much improvement, or I see much improvement, I should say. I also think we're in a position where, you talk about the cups and everything. We've got a very good chance of winning the Carabao Cup this season. You look at the teams that are left in it. City not in it, Arsenal not in it, United not in it, I believe. I'm trying to think who else off the top of my head. Yeah, we've got a very good chance of winning that, and I don't have any faith we're going to beat Newcastle with this manager. And yeah, as I said, I just don't see where the improvement's going to come. Like the injured players that are out, I don't see them coming back and making that much of a difference. And yeah, and so I'd just get rid. Just get rid.
Marshall's on mute currently, but
No. He's letting Scott go.
I was letting Scott go. I had to take a call anyways. Ahmed, what's going on, man? What's in your coffee, man? You got some edibles in there? What's going on? You smiling, cheesing, shaking, you're shaking your head.
Nice,
Jesus Christ, what's going on with you, bro?
No, I had a nice night out. A few drinks with the lads. You know what I'm saying, before I came back today.
Laughing at nothing, man.
Huh?
It's just like the silence told the best joke you've ever heard, man. You're just laughing at nothing.
I was still a best joke, man, because I really, I don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? I just watch these games these days. It just reminds me of like the period that we had. So I just didn't care. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just lived through the week by week by week. But we're signing 34 million Wonder Kids again. You know what I mean? We actually need to be. I think
we'll be back in 10 years' time, Ahmed. Don't worry.
I think the Child Protection Services need to check our CPS in the UK or the NSPCC is the right one I wanted to use, because we have a underage issue at Chelsea Football Club, bro. You know what I mean? To be honest, 16 is not an underage issue right now because that's the legal age for sex in the UK. But like we do still have a issue in general. We need to speak to CPS immediately. NSPCC, you know what I mean? I don't know what it's called in South America. I don't know if they even have it, respectfully, but we need to definitely, double check what's going on there. I don't really care anymore, bro. Like, I couldn't care less. I want to call, what is it? Our savior, in Cuckoo Christ. You know what I mean? Hopefully, that's what I need to call him from these days. Because that's what the club is seeing him as, in Cuckoo Christ. You know what I mean? I need to start calling him that. Nice little nickname. Obviously, hopefully, no offense to any of my fellow Christian followers, but that's the way the club is seeing him as, essentially. Hopefully he doesn't get crucified after having his first bad game when he comes back in, which is more than likely to happen. Who else am I? What else am I thinking about? Who have I forgotten that you guys can help me out? Who's missing? Oh yeah, Lavia. You know what I mean? Prophet Lavia. I will call him Prophet Lavia. You know what I mean? The guy that's gonna fix our centre back situation. You know what I mean? Shout outs to him too.
Carney.
No. Before Carney, there's a picture today of like Chilwell and Chalobah. You know what I mean? The boys are back. You know what I mean? The heroes are back, lads. You know what I mean? Chilwell left wing. You know what I mean? Darcy on the wing.
The left wing revolution has arrived.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Chalobah, the right back that people fear. You know what I mean? The real right back. You know what I mean? Gusto's new, backup.
Can't lie, Chalobah right back over to Sarcy any day.
Okay, what an upgrade! What an upgrade! You know what I mean? Generational upgrade. You know what I mean? I don't know what people.
We're in hell, bro. We're legit.
Listen, Cardi Chukwuemeka. You know what I mean? A guy that because he got injured, our system failed. So drastically that he had to change his whole style of play. Wallahi, man, I'm tired, bro. I honestly cannot believe. I don't know if you saw my tweet today, Marshall. I tweeted today, because he said about top 4. We're not gonna get top 4 this season.
I think I saw that,
yeah, and that's not possible. But in the future seasons, we can. Bro, big man, how can the club say they want to use your football and he's telling you can't get it? So why is he in the hot seat? He's saying in public that he can't get it. Why is he in the hot seat? He's probably told him in private.
Maybe because the players ain't ready, Ahmed. That's why as well. It's not. I wouldn't say all on Poch.
Go ahead, Chris. Where do you stand on this?
No,
because you see Chelsea.
I'm sorry, Chris. Yeah, this is a extremely mute answer because 99.9% of the starting 11 exists. There is only one player you can argue, which you can't argue with, in Cuckoo. Every single other player probably is starting that in that starting 11. Why are we lying to ourselves here?
He has made
Chris-
mistakes. I will say, like, before you say it, like, yes, Poch has made mistakes playing Chilwell left wing for, like, what, 3-4 games or maybe 5. I think that was a big mistake on this season. Obviously, playing Colwell overused him at left back is a big mistake. Some of his substitutions, like the Man United game where he, brung off Cucurella instead of Colwell. But I feel like, Chelsea, and I've already spoke to you this before, Ahmed, like, Chelsea in the last 2 seasons has chopped and changed, like, 2 teams in the last
Sure.
2 years. Like, because in the first summer, when we, like, got our new ownership, I thought we overspent and, like, what we have. Like, well, we didn't need to, like, get all those players. I'd rather Leao over Mudryk, because I don't know who Mudryk was, to be honest. I don't think anyone really knew who he was. He clearly isn't ready as a player. We have a lot of players who sometimes ain't just ready for the season to compete, actually getting top 4. I do see it though, because obviously there's teams, who are not performing. Newcastle lost their main keeper. Tottenham in a little bit of a shambolic moment right now. Man United ain't a good Man United side, so realistically we could get top 4. But I don't see our attack like doing it consistent all season.
Real quick, before you go, Ahmed, before you go, I just want to know, Chris, where do you currently stand with the whole Pochettino situation?
I stand with like keeping Poch unless we get the right manager in, like and see how Poch gets on the next few games and see go from there. If say we loses like most of the
You're
games.
not
in
Poch
December.
out.
Not at the minute, no, not exactly. To be
Okay.
yeah, I'm
That's
not
fine. That's all I
Poch.
need to know. You're not Poch
But
out yet.
I do understand why a lot of people are Poch out right now. It's getting
I get it.
frustrating. We're literally temp still, so we're not getting anywhere better right now.
Can I ask you a
Yeah, I
question,
do-
Chris? I need because there's a question.
After
that we
this
need to
question,
ask
I want
Chris.
Oliver's where his
because-
stance is.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I don't understand Chris's point of view about we can still get used to football. Right now, we're
I don't
11
think we can.
points in 15 games. We are currently in a run where we could pretty much lose the majority of our upcoming games. Pretty much, the way it's good and the style of football we've been playing with Poch, whether or not he has the players or not. Quite literally, the style of football he plays is not translation to playing against Everton, against Wolves, against I think Sheffield before
Yeah,
Sheffield, then
I think
Luton.
we'd be Sheffield no matter what, and like teams like that. But it's just
I
teams-
wouldn't.
But
No,
I
the way
will
you
say
secondly-
our style of play, like the last like few games, like has been quite stale. Like
I just
know
want
Poch,
to,
like,
and I
wants to
also
play
want to hit
possession play
to the
football.
point
That's what he
to
is.
Chris. I want to hit to the point of Chris saying that we've chopped and changed,
Yes.
and I think for me, yeah, obviously, shut up, man. But I just think for me, yeah, going into this, this is the point I want to make to you.
Right.
We had to make a necessary evil. You know what I mean? In the sense of we had to remove
Yeah.
all of these guys. This is not chopping and changing, bro.
It-
You know what I mean? They rectified essentially, I'll be honest with you, they rectified the mistakes they made in the previous summer window, this summer window. And they got in this sort of youth thing. Now I'm here, everyone here, we can agree and will agree that we can say there can be humps and bumps. The problem is though, there's no style of play really. That is the issue. Like when you're making players that players like Enzo look better when they were under Potter and Lampard, than himself. You have to ask questions. Caicedo looks like a shell of himself. Then it was a Brighton. Are we really saying that Caicedo is just another Cucurella where we got hoodwinked? You know what I mean? After one season, that cannot be the case, bro. You know what I'm saying to you?
I don't believe that, by the way. Yeah.
He's got but I'm just making. I'm just trying to make the overall point here. Same with the centre back situations. I can't. Listen. Levi Colwill for me, should not be playing left back. He should have seen that ages ago. The thing for me that I don't understand, like from your perspective, Chris, about saying that it's not the manager. It is. For me, it really, what's it called? It really is. Him. He's the issue. I don't agree of this what EPL staff is saying that that this is the best the players can give. I totally disagree with that because we have seen that each and every one of these players can give more than what they're playing right now. Why are we lying to ourselves here? We've seen it in JG. Yes,
like this,
why are we lying?
I hate this
That's what I'm
thing. I
saying
hate
to you,
this thing.
But dude, why are people not lying? Why are people lying to themselves? The way we played football, reminded Scott said it reminded me of Lampard. Which is even further than this was reminding me of Tuchel when we just could not go from where the gap between our defense and the midfield or our midfield to the attack was so big, that there was literally you could feel like a whole parked bus there.
Oliver, where do you stand on the situation right now?
I'm with Scott and Ahmed. I'm done, and this all started really like I didn't feel this at the time, but in retrospect, this all started from the first game of the season when this guy effectively betrayed everyone by taking what he did in preseason and throwing it in the bin. Because listen, preseason is not the end all and be all of everything. You know, you can have a good preseason and have a bad season, but usually the approach is meant to stay the same in that regard. And you have here, you know, you had us in preseason. We're looking like we've got short distances between the players. There's good link-up play. There's a good structure overall. We're scoring goals. Players, most of the players are playing in their positions, and even when you have some that aren't, like Ian Matson, it made sense, and because they were performing. And then we turn up in the first game of the season. I'm seeing Colwell left back and Chilwell left wing, and it just persists and persists and persists. We don't, you know, this manager doesn't read the game properly. He's a reactive manager. The substitutions are amongst the worst I've ever seen, and it always comes after we go a goal down or whatever, by which point the team's already on the back foot and it's just impossible from there. But I understand that he doesn't have the greatest bench to work with, and that is partly down to injuries, but even the timing, it just reeks of a lack of ambition and or a cowardice. I don't know, but I think I can't really sum it up in any other way. I'm just done with it. I personally feel, this might sound dramatic, but like I said, I do feel betrayed. I feel like I've been lied to. I invested in something in preseason and I'm not getting that now. I'm not even getting anything that looks like it.
Fair enough. I mean, I also now am at the point too where if Poch were to get sacked, I think you also have to sack board, because the board, at least Quinn Stanley, even Lawrence Stewart. Real quick. Let me just land, and then you can back up my point. But with Lawrence Stewart, both of them were accomplices in picking the short list, right? That at least as of now, it was Bowley and Iqbali. I just saw a tweet earlier. Apparently, Bowley hasn't been that involved this season. It's been mostly Iqbali. So I don't know who ended up making that decision. I'm assuming both of them did. And then this season, it was just Iqbali. But that being said, it seems to me that they both came together to come out with this short list. Both of them had a transfer strategy. And we've seen how much of a failure the departures were with Lawrence Stewart. And now with Paul Winstanley, with these players, although I will say there is talent, there's also a lack of a balance in this team when it comes to overall experience and, you know, raw talent, which I also am inclined to give a little bit of leeway with that, considering I was thinking the other day, if we had a fully fit squad, this team, it does seem to me on paper pretty balanced when it comes to youth and experience and older players. Like I can't, right wing would probably be Palmer. Other than that, everyone is pretty much like a senior player, minus Jackson. So Jackson and Palmer. And just really quickly, just to end it on this one. So yeah, I feel like Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart would be on the chopping block as well, and it reasonably so. And I also think that if we were to go for another board, we have to go for someone with a little bit more experience and not someone who is from Brighton, a team that needs a lot less expectations for that. Ahmed, go.
I don't think experience is necessarily a matter here, boys. I'll be real with you. You know why? Do you know why I say that? Yeah. I think for me, if the player has a good amount of quality, has the skills and everything like that, experience really is an issue for me. You know what I'm saying? There's a fine balance, obviously, between quality and experience. But if the player has the quality, the experience is very minimal. It's very minimal, in my opinion, because their quality will outshine the experience that is needed, because they will have the qualities beforehand in order for that to take place. I feel like with a lot of these players, maybe Barney, you can say, well, I think for me, maybe both Mudryk and Jackson, they do have that. They have shown that. So why we shouldn't really be worrying about experience? For me, it just comes down to, and again, I will say this again, the formation and the style of play we are playing. We need to be making sure that we are playing a system that suits all of these players, that accommodates them all. That's what it comes down to for me. And like, I'm seeing EPO Turf said, yeah, that we have built a full and like what's it called? Yeah, we don't have an experience. The experience thing for me is a non sequitur. That should not matter. I'm sorry. Mudryk here for me, yeah. Again, and I said this before, Mudryk for me is someone that needed time. I already said that before. Him and Jackson are the two people that I said, yeah, probably when he brought them in, yeah, you should have probably sent them out on loan. Marshall knows this. I've said this previously. Mudryk should have been sent out on loan. You should have at least had Sterling, and then you should have had Palmer if that was going to be the case. Yeah, Jackson, I understood for a time if you had Broha starting for you, but that was it. Like that's what I've always said. But like I think for me, going for the experience angle, that's it for me. This team should be getting Europa League football. I don't think can get UCL football, but Europa Conference League football. We should be. Our team, yeah, is probably on par with Brighton right now. Honestly, that's what our team should really be right now in this season. Brighton, get us, play a good style of play a good football for me, and then what happens afterwards? We can get that Europa League football, and then we can move on to our next step, which will be UCL and UCL and competing for the title. That's the plan. That was the plan for me always.
Before anyone goes and builds off of what Ahmed just said, I'm going to be posting the link in the chat right now. I'm assuming that people are going to be calling in. First come, first serve, and the first one in is the next one out, if that makes any sense. So if it gets full and some of you guys in the panel, you're fine. You can stay here. Anyone who just called in, if you're been here the longest, if there's someone's trying to get in, I'm going to tell you to wrap up to your point and then let you out so that someone else can get in on the show, right? But I am going to post the link in the chat right now for you guys to join in and have your say. Anyone want to say anything off of what Ahmed just said?
I just agree with Ahmed. I hate this idea that suddenly these players aren't good enough. Like, and it's not even just the signings, by the way. Like, there's no way you can't tell me. Like Reece James is this player that we saw the other day. That's not Reece James. I know, we all know that's not Reece James. But he looked like shit. That's also not Silva. That's Silva this season, by the way, because he's been shit this season. But that's not the Silva we've seen outside of this season. Even last season, he was way better than this.
I think
so you can't tell me that Enzo was way better last season. You can't tell me that we bought Caicedo and he's this bad. He might not be as good as we thought. That's a different conversation. You can't tell me he's this bad or he's as bad as he was the other day. You can't tell me he's that bad.
Wait, you actually think Enzo was better last season?
Yes, he's way better last season.
He's even been better.
I think he's probably more consistent last season, but I think he's had more higher standard performances like the Liverpool game, especially. I thought that was a very good game to start off with. I'm inclined
to agree. Go ahead.
But I think with Reece James, man, I think this is only Reece James' first poor game, really, realistically. Like the City game, he was unreal. What other game was there? He was quite good.
He was sent off against Newcastle.
That's the point, though.
I know. I wasn't going to mention Newcastle. The thing is, Reece James actually good in that Newcastle game until we did that mistake.
What was the game? We can count his games on my fingers.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I'm trying to think the game before City. I'm trying to think the game before that. He was pretty good.
Spurs was before City.
Yeah, he's pretty good in that game. I'm pretty sure that's the game I'm thinking of then. Yeah. But that was
against Liverpool as well.
Oh yeah. Like that's the start of the game. But I think, Scott, I don't think Reece has only had like that many bad performances. You can count the Newcastle one as well because he got the red card. But
of course, that's the last two games though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but like I don't know if that's part down to Poch him getting a red card. It might be like him being aggressive or not. I don't know, but. I think Reece James, I think he just had one of those games where he just weren't performing. Maybe he actually did have a bit of a knee injury and he wasn't fully fit for the game. But I have to see next. I have to see next for a few games where we play because we do play against Everton, who just won 3-0. I'm not looking forward to that game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Hey, we're packing out the house. Big up to you guys who just called in and are here.
Before anyone goes off. Sorry. Before anyone goes off. EPL stuff. What's Jude proven? Forget this season. What has Jude proven?
Oh, Jude Werner.
That he can play a 10.
He played in the pivot for Dortmund.
Yeah,
He did.
You could play
I
10.
was gonna say he didn't win anything at Dortmund. Wasn't even their star player.
He
What's
did.
he
He won
done?
the FA Cup for them, whatever.
Oh, sorry, the cup. Fuck me.
PFP
Cool.
Pokal.
A Pokal Cup.
Cool.
It's
He won the
someone
league.
like it.
Oh, they almost won the Bundesliga. Congrats.
Hey, Enzo won the World Cup
Almost
anyway,
trophy.
so
Enzo's won a league
Okay.
title.
Alright,
Yeah.
Let's not compare meats. All right, pause. But like, I just think.
Eats. Hey, yo.
No,
Sorry.
Hey, yo, Ahmed, man.
Listen,
That's
that's
the pause,
man.
Ahmed.
Listen, I said pause after straight away. But
Oh,
I just
fuck
think
that.
the point. I
Why are
think
you
the point.
stuttering, Ahmed? Come on, man.
Listen, the point that I think we're trying to make here is just that
Got
you know
meat
level
on
of
the
it,
line.
the level of experience that a dude has had isn't as big difference compared to what Enzo's had either. So you know it really shouldn't matter. Again, it just they both have very high. They're both high quality players. The quality should be showing. That's all it is.
I mean, it's also very different managers. I mean, you look at
Yeah,
what
but
Don
Ancelotti's literally fashioned the
Don
perfect
Carlo
I'll be
rock.
honest, bro. Ancelotti, the style of play, Ancelotti. Marshall, do I go there?
He's Ancelotti's literally fashioned the perfect role for Bellingham to express his abilities.
Not even that, but like Don Carlo knows how to get people to score.
Don Carlo understands his players. Don Carlo is a good
The
man
only
manager.
reason
That's what he
Dominic
is.
Calvert-Lewin is relevant is because of Don Carlo.
But remember, Carlo Ancelotti is very similar to me and Emery have a very similar thing when it comes to some of the
I'm
the
so
way they're able
glad you
to
corrected
manage.
yourself because you were gonna say
I was
you,
like, wait.
and I was like, hey, no, I've seen how you set up your team on FIFA, bro. You
Come on,
ain't
come
not
on.
nah.
Listen. No, but let's be one. No,
Yeah,
but I'm
your
using
point, on
honestly.
Emery, yeah.
But I'm talking about Emery, both Emery and like
Yeah.
Don Carlo. They're very good man managers, right? They're able to do the best out of their players. They understand their players like to a sort of like a personality trait and like their styles of play essentially. And then from there, they can at least create something that works out for them. The thing with Poch is supposed to be that guy too, but clearly, you know, I don't know what's going on with him.
He doesn't know what
PSG tax, huh? Well, I was gonna come to the callers here. Big up to you guys for calling in. We'll start off with the Luda Chelsea fan. You were here first. What are you gonna say, brother? How you feeling? What are your thoughts?
Yo, like at first I was like, you know, I don't know if Poch should stay or go before the United game. Now I'm like, okay, like we sacked Tuchel in 7 games. That's all I'm gonna say. We sacked that guy who knows ball. This guy doesn't know ball. Like, it's obvious now. This guy does not know ball. Like, this is crazy. We're playing like shit and these players are not that bad. We got the bad players out last season or before this season started. Like, we got them out. So these guys that are here, they can't all be bad. They can't be.
I mean, we were saying the same thing about the team last season, weren't we?
No, I wasn't saying that. I said they were shit. No.
Okay.
Because they were bad under Tuchel as well.
But the thing was, we knew there were bad apples in the team last season, bro. We knew there were bad apples in the team.
I just that
Marshall,
sentence,
look at-
that sentence triggered me a little bit. I was like, they can't all be bad. I feel like I was saying the same thing last season.
No,
but no,
the
I
thing
get what
is,
you're saying. Go ahead.
We knew this because look at after when Chilwell got his ACL injury, and look at the performances that our team put in, and some of the experienced players that came in there. It was disgraceful. We should have easily finished at least second, considering the start we'd made to that season. But no one stepped up. It just fell. It just collapsed all in one in that one season. Really, that's the only thing.
Go ahead, Duluth. Finish your point, bro.
Well, I'm almost done with my point. I'm not gonna be long at all.
Yeah.
I was still saying,
man. You got time.
Thank you. That United game, like, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. How they were going at us, and this whole time, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was saying, man, we may be in a worse league position than United, but we're in a better position situationally, like where we are, like in our clubs, better than them. The hell we are! They just cooked us. They should have. It should have been at least like what 3-1 or something like that. These guys,
5.
oh no, this is bad. This is bad. This guy has to go. I don't know who. Like, I'm thinking Hansi Flick, but like I don't know. But then again, I'm also on the side of I don't want to keep like switching managers, because then like these players are gonna get like, how are they gonna proceed or like get better under someone different every year? So we're in the between a rock and a hard place right now. It seems like
Yeah, this seemed pretty nihilistic. I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty shitty situation with Chelsea overall. So it's kind of like up in the air what the solution really is, which is why we're discussing this, right? We're all gonna bring in our own ideas to the table and different perspectives to see where maybe there could be a solution, maybe where we fucked up, and well, I shouldn't say we. The Chelsea, the board, and the owners all fucked up, so on and so forth. But big up Fetter. I just did a show with Fetter yesterday with Flawless over at Sarcasm City. So if you want to check that out, we did the Chelsea, United, and Spurs show. So that was a fun time. But Fetter, big up to you, brother. How you doing? And tell me what you think, man. How you feeling?
Yo, I can't lie. I've been kind of like seeing the press conference, press conference earlier today. Previous caller earlier said that, oh, let's get him out. Like, it's easy to say that, but do you really are we gonna trust this board to sack him when the results not going our way? I mean, look what happened yesterday. What they came out of, Fabrizio put a tweet saying that, oh, apparently the Chelsea board will back Pochettino no matter what. And up until what point is it gonna be like? Remember last year when we lost to Southampton 1-0, then eventually the board saying that, oh, we're still backing this manager. Like, how long are we going to be persisting towards this kind of situation where they're going to keep holding on Poch until like April, and then eventually they sack him? And that's my worry about it. Like, if we get into a bad run of results, like I just don't know where this board gonna sack him or not. Though that's the whole point of. I mean, last night even I talked with Marshall, like, let's say if we get into like February stages, we haven't got the signings that we want, and then we get into bad run of the results, we haven't got that 40-point mark, then I don't know, man. Like, I don't trust this board to pull the trigger at all. Like, I just think that they're gonna have to write this out till the end of the season and then see what it is. But yeah, man.
Based off of what you just said there, Fetter, and based off of this comment, it makes me think, like, what if Bowley and Co. take a different approach to this, and rather than sacking Poch, they sack the board and they get new board members?
Because what does that do for the football? The stuff on the football pitch?
For the football, bro?
Bro, he's not even. Bro, it's 60%.
You know what,
60% goes to
let me ask the question. That's the question that everyone asks when we say sack the manager. But I'll flip it. So who are we signing instead?
Yeah. For the board?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking me? Who just said? I mean, Paul
Yeah.
Mitchell is available. Michael Edwards was always
anyone in the
available.
chat that says sack the board first. Anyone in the chat that says sack the board first. Who are you getting to replace said board members? So who is our director of football?
When Stanley Sherwood.
No, who comes in as the new director of football?
Oh,
Michael Edwards is available. Paul Mitchell is out there as
he's not
well.
available.
Michael Edwards is not available.
Michael Edwards is out of
He's not?
football. He's gone to make his own company. He's off the table.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Paul Mitchell
Yeah.
is set to go to Manchester United, it seems, as well.
It's not,
He's
it's
also
not
managed.
done yet.
Oh, hang on.
Not
I
done yet.
knew Paul Mitchell was going to come up. So you mean Paul Mitchell, who's been at Tottenham and Monaco? What big clubs?
No, listen. The reason I bring this up is not because this is. Oh, wait, hold on. This is not because it's my idea, but because I'm trying to. This is what I feel like. Being a Chelsea fan is also being a part-time detective when it comes to like figuring out the news, because like you're trying to like realize like, okay, on one hand there's outlets saying, oh, they're gonna give him time, and then the other hand you have other outlets saying the manager, the owners want top 4. So it's just like, okay.
Marshall, you know,
Wait, hold
under
on, Ahmed, let me.
no,
man,
I want to give you an example.
You know,
Potter was the example.
Okay. Potter didn't have. Well,
There were conflicting reports
not
that will
really.
be released for him.
Okay. Anyways, my point being, I was gonna make a joke. You would be the worst person to land. Let me land an airplane. You'd be like, wait,
Yes,
because you can't let me land. I'm just trying to land my point.
I know what you're gonna say. If it was like
No. Okay, maybe you do, but I'm gonna say it anyways for the people who don't know what I'm gonna say, Ahmed. God damn it. It's not just me and you talking, Ahmed. All right. Anyways, I love you, Ahmed. So my point is that maybe the approach that the owners might be taking is like, okay, listen, we decide we're gonna give Poch time. We want to have a project where we stick with one manager and have a youth team and develop it. We're seeing that the recruitment wasn't good and that this isn't what Poch wanted. Let's get another recruitment for January because Ahmed, you did point out, like, I think decisive time is going to be end of December. Let's get another board for Poch. Maybe they build him something that he can work with better and maybe he gets results. So I'm just saying, it's just an idea. I'm not agreeing with it. I don't think that's the right move. I think all of them should be sacked. I just don't know, like what Scott said, I don't know what the solution is. Who do you get, you know?
Ash, can I counteract your point quickly, if I may?
Yeah, go for it.
Don't fall for this PR from Telegraph. Don't fall for it.
No. I'm not talking with this. This is literally from Matt Law's article, and this is what he said. So
fuck Matt Law, man.
No, but this is what listen. This is what your boy Pochettino has said. Let's not go anywhere from this. That's what he said.
Boy.
You know what I mean? He can. Hey man, I'm just saying. I just your boy. I just said it in general. It doesn't mean that he has to be your boy or not.
Relax.
That's all.
Fire that,
the
man.
point.
That.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that I think Fatou said there, I don't trust the board to sack him. The problem is they actually. I do somewhat believe there is a financial necessity in terms of us getting Europe. I still believe on some level there is a need of financial necessity. And if that truly is the case, then you really are running a ticking time bomb in the sense of when he has to get sacked, in my opinion. If he loses, for example, against Everton, he should really be getting sacked. Like that should be really last chance saloon for him.
I don't think they will.
The thing is, the more they continue onwards, they already have a pending FFP case with what's happened with Roman. And I'll tell you right now, guys, they will definitely get some sort of a ban or some sort of point deduction. So if you don't get Europe this season, you then go what? Another pending thing upcoming as well. So
maybe
like we need. So for me, he has to get sacked. In some way, shape, or form. If you want to get even
you
Europe,
say that, but I don't think they will.
Yeah,
I personally, the thing was, when Potter got sacked, he got only sacked, I think, a game or two later than he should have been, essentially. They will eventually sack him.
It was a handful of games later.
We were trying to back him until like
maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but eventually they will have to sack him if it keeps on getting as bad as it is.
So Curry, my man, thank you for being here. I like your perspective when you come on this show, so I'm glad you're here. Brother, tell me what you think about everything we discussed so far, where you stand with the whole Poch.
I talked to Ahmed about this on his stream a bit, so I'm going to rant a little bit here.
Big up.
I will have a solution for the manager, but I won't have a solution for the board. We are a club run from top to bottom by idiots. Absolute idiots. Okay? What pissed me off more when we were thinking about what's more at fault, the board or Poch? Now I think it's 60% the board. When I saw the report of us thinking of bidding 40 million euros for a 16-year-old Brazilian kid today, I was done. I'm trying to hold my frustration when I saw that report. I'll be honest with you. What in God's green earth are we thinking? Okay. I know Scott did say at one point, like when Stanley and so forth, a couple of streams ago or sometimes that, hey, like we have made good signings. And I do agree with that. But if we sign 20 young players, I'm hoping to God one of them hits or 5 of them hit. We need a decent hit rate, right? I know Scott wasn't defending them, but I'm just saying like out of 20, if we get 5, that's not a special thing, especially when we're spending 300 million on these kids. Okay. Some of them are costing 40 million apparently for a 16-year-old.
40 million is nasty, man.
40 million is what you can get for a Kudus, but we're going to spend that on a 16-year-old who's going to be in Brazil that can't even join until he's 18 here. But why not?
No,
he's not even hyped up like...
Actually, no, wait.
No, he can't. He
can't join until the 18.
Fuck.
And he's not even hyped up like Hendrik was, who's hyped up as a generational talent like Neymar. Or Victor Roque, who's like the slightly below tier. He's not even hyped. This kid has not been hyped up like that, and we're
in Brazil. In Brazil, he's thought of as to be better than Hendrik, literally.
Is this the same kid that they were calling?
In Brazil, he's thought to be better than Hendrik.
Messi-inho? Is that?
Yeah, that's what they're calling him. That's what they're calling him.
Messi-dinho. Messinho. Just go with your name, right? Come on, man.
Besides that, I think
just based on that, I don't want him.
Yeah, and I think it's
I'm not making it up. I think that's what they call him. Go ahead, Kerr. I'm sorry.
I kind of agree with Ahmed, or I think it was you, Casually, with balance and age. There is, if everyone is fit, right? We have a 25-year-old Disasi, right? And then Ahmed was saying, if your quality is good enough, you're gonna show that. Badashile joined us last year at 22, 23, and instantly we're like, he's probably the second best defender besides Thiago Silva, or better than Thiago Silva. Palmer comes in, once again killing it. Gusto comes in, we're like, you know what? Us losing Reece James is not that big of a deal compared to having an Aspilicueta last year, right? So those qualities do show, and they didn't have that much experience at least, right? And what I don't get with the board is also, they were also in charge of hiring the manager. One of the main reasons that we didn't get, for example, not agreeing with the Nagelsmann is because Nagelsmann's like, hey, I am fine with the Vivell, but the certain structures I want that come with this to join, you guys aren't willing to do that because they're so strict on the stupid under 25 youth team that they're trying to build for the future. And they are, I'm sorry, I'm a Lakers fan. Bowley owns part of Lakers. It is literally where he's doing the draft model. Why are we doing the draft model here? It's not like these drafts hold unlimited value, especially when they come off the bat. It's not like we have a first round pick and we're the first overall pick and then we can trade that for like a elite player. We're not doing that. We can't do that with these players right now. So then what does he think? What are we doing with another? And we don't have enough loan positions. It's not like the Abramovich era where we can have the loan army. We can only have 8 international slots, right? And the other thing is, when we were talking,
I think it's 7 actually.
7, sorry.
No, it's 8.
And
I think it's 7 from next season, or something like that.
Yeah, they're reducing it slowly. Yeah. And the other thing is, like, even Angelo, who was doing well, I've heard last 4 games not doing as well, right?
Yeah, he's not.
It's no coincidence at the same time that there's been a report about 4 days ago that he's homesick, right? Or he's not, with language problems in a sense, right? Language. And it makes sense. This kid comes from Santos, okay? Moves to Chelsea. And you know what? He might be more at home at Chelsea. For what reason? Because there's a large Brazilian contingent. He has a young kid with him. Okay. He has Thiago Silva with him, who's an older brother, figure, mentor, whatever. You would have in literally 2 weeks' time, you have Andre Santos with you, and we freaking signed Washington, who's from Santos himself. So they've grown up together, right? That would have been a good enough environment to build something, to be like, hey, you know what? You guys all play under the under 21 team, build the chemistry. You're gonna kind of face not the same physicality as a Prem, but you're gonna do that. We've also not been doing great in the under 21s in recent years, apparently, ever since Lampard's assistant, I keep on forgetting his name.
Jody Morris.
Thank you. Since he left, we haven't been like winning that league or being in the European positions like we used to. So we could have just bulked it up with the Washingtons, who's been apparently scoring 2 goals, put the Santos in, why not? Have Angelo, let them get a company to that. You have another year, you could train with the first team at the same time, have Thiago Silva settle you into this country. Instead of putting this kid in with us for 2 weeks, making him feel like kind of home, right? And then sending him to a place which is France, and he's in a team where 95% of the squad, basically the entire squad, is French. What is he going to do? And he's in Strasbourg. It's not even, he's in Paris. Yeah, and it's like, he's not even in Paris, where it's a major city. It's Strasbourg. He's not in a Marseille. He's not like in any of those 2 major cities or 3 major cities in France itself, where you have a more international scene. So he's going to be just dealing with French. He's going to feel more isolated. And he's been our brightest youngster out on loan. We can all say that. Because Fofana, he's been having behavioral issues as well as performance issues, right? So he's in and out. We know how Andre Santos is being, right? We know Moreira's in freaking Lyon getting his hopes destroyed. I know he was on a free, but
playing,
guys, trying to get
Morera. Did I tell you that?
Exactly.
From what I've heard,
last 3 games he's been playing, 5.6 average rating.
And you know what the stupid thing is? We're thinking of buying this 16-year-old kid from Brazil. Why don't, if we're doing this youth project once again, apparently we just got a report today or yesterday that Turkey, because of how shit Leon is doing and his behavioral issues, is only going to cost us 10 million pounds. I'm fine with probably rehabbing this kid and only losing 10 million and possibly having a bigger sell on with him than buying the 16-year-old kid from Brazil that we have to wait 2 years for. If we're still on this like youth system. So that's why I think we're run by idiots by top to bottom. And the last thing I would say is, I think Scott talked about this, and I've thought about this multiple times. You have literally the perfect pairing with chemistry in center back with Disasi and Badiashile. They have literally been playing together for years. They're perfect for headers even. They're tall enough. Where Poch is talking about we need bigger players, blah, blah, all that nonsense apparently.
Especially for the set pieces,
Exactly. They're strong as hell, so they're not going to get bodied as a Caldwell when he's on left back and falling every 5 seconds, getting bodied from our last goal against McTominay. We're not going to have that with the Badiashile Disasi issue, right? They've been playing for years. They have the chemistry. We don't have to like pretend like we have to rebuild a thing. And he keeps on changing it every 2 seconds. So it's just like, what are we doing? That's what I'm saying. It's run by idiots top to bottom right now. Because I was Poch in, to be honest. Until the Man United, because I was like, you know what, we'll give it time. I'm seeing a turnaround. We're going to win against United, and we have this run coming, and we can do something. And Kunku, which is a unicorn, because I don't think he exists right now. He does not exist. Okay, he's like a shooting star. You make a wish, we're hoping it comes true, because the entire club's ambitions are riding on this guy, apparently. Like, he's the next reincarnation of Pele or something. So it's like, what are we doing here?
I mean, Curry, you.
Sorry on this rant.
No, you're good. Listen.
Right, and especially with the comments,
have all the time in the world.
And especially with the comments after we lost, where it's the boys give it their all. Because I was fed up with the Newcastle thing, but you know what? I'm like, you know what? I'll let these comments go. But when he gives the United comments after the game, because I was already pissed off, I was like, I'm done. I'm officially out. With the comments, I'm like 90. I'm 100%. There's not a percentage I want left.
And I think you said a lot of really, really good points, which I would love to continue talking on. Chris, what did you say? What did you want to say?
The thing is, this could go away from me as well. But I was gonna say to you, like the rest of you guys, whoever's watching, obviously the Man United game, I'm actually quite stunned we lost like that, because every big game we've gone across, we've dominated, we've actually played better. We normally win or draw. But obviously that Man United game was a disaster. What's happened though, like Chelsea, like after this game, maybe it still doesn't happen though, wake up and obviously beat Everton, beat Sheffield, because I think we're going to beat Sheffield regardless. And even beats Newcastle, in the Carabao Cup and gets to the next round. Is it semi-finals after that round? I think it is. And even go on a decent run between, Wolves, Crystal Palace and Luton and all that, and until like the next big game. Do you start to turn it around on Poch? You know what, Poch has turned things around. Because I think if Poch doesn't turn around, I'd be with you guys. I'd be like, yeah, this guy's done at this point. But
so I'll just say this. I said this yesterday on the show with Flawless. I still am Poch out. I just don't think he's the guy moving us forward. I just in that game in United, it showed us how tactically inept he is to be able to adapt in situations. Like even Tuchel adapted in a game. I think it was the Liverpool game, or maybe it was Tottenham. Like there was a game where we were playing like shit the first half, and then he changed the tactics to a 3-5-2, and all of a sudden it worked perfectly. Like we dominated the game. So even the inability to have that from Poch just shows me like he's just not the competent manager. And then what we're seeing with the team and the inconsistencies. But I'll let Jason answer that as well. Get you a chance to talk, and David, we'll get to you too. I did not forget about you.
What's the question?
No, basically it's if things turn around, if Poch starts getting a run of wins, he ends up going further into the Carabao Cup, possibly even wins it. Are you still Poch out, or I don't even know where you stand?
Is there any waypoint back for like? You're back maybe Poch, I guess. For you.
What'd you say?
I said, is there like any way, basically, what Marshall said as well, basically any way for Pochettino to get your trust back, or in this, you can believe like he can be here for a season or two anyway, to make this team where you just want him
assuming
out.
Assuming you're Poch out.
Yeah, okay. I think everyone's Poch out at this point.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not Poch out. I just want to say, I think sacking Poch would probably be one of the dumbest decisions we'd make this season. It doesn't provide anything long term or short term for us, because there's no good managers out there at this moment. I think what we need, someone with actual experience, which Poch has, and Premier League experience, which Poch has, I think if you want to blame someone, we have to blame the board, obviously, because the recruitment has been poor. If you want to talk about the players in the positions that Poch is playing them in, and the profile of players, I think the idea of that you could just come into a team like Chelsea, where we routinely finish in the top 4 consistently, and just to fully just sell all our experienced players, whether it's to rivals or not, I think that's ridiculous. And then replace with under 21s and still thinking you can finish in the top 4 in the most competitive league in the world is crazy. That is dumb. And also, these young players that we're buying, they're not proven. Mudryk is 22 years old and has like 85 appearances in his whole career. 22 and 85 appearances. Angelo is 18. I think he's nearly at 100 appearances at Santos. Obviously, as well, Andre Santos, we bought him from Vasco da Gama. And I think someone else said that we should have just put him in the under 21s. You don't buy a player that's playing it in Brazil, who's just gone promoted with Vasco da Gama, who's their best player, and then stick him into the youth team. That's ridiculous. You either put him on loan or you just let him stay in Brazil and let him develop. I think next season as well, the loan is for 8 players in other top leagues. So I think you can just send all our loan players to the championship as well. So just in general, I think sacking Poch should be stupid, and it doesn't provide anything short term or long term. So we might as well stick out of it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, 18th. There we go.
Right. So, what has Poch shown you that? So you said sacking Poch doesn't help us in the short term and the long term, but what he's doing right now, if you're being honest, 80% of what's happening on the pitch is kind of his fault. So what are we just going to? Should we just continue to stick with what he's producing, and then if it means another season of 12th, 13th place? Are we just going to say you can't just all say it's just the majority of the ball fault at that point? Because we've said, okay, we'll keep Poch until the end of the season. We have no Europe. We've literally regressed to 12th or 13th place, or where we were last season.
It's not regression. We were there last season, isn't it? So
no, but I'm saying it's 12th or 13th. 13th would be regression if that is the case, right? So I'm just saying to you, if we stay in the same place, then what's the point of bringing in Poch? What has changed then? Because you brought in him. You brought him in. So you know what I'm saying? You brought this guy in to help to develop your players and create a style of play. He's doing neither. So what's the point?
You don't think he's created a style of play?
No.
Nope.
What?
Where have we seen the style of play since preseason?
Wait. So compared to last season to this season, you don't think there's anything you haven't seen any patterns.
Oh, it works.
At least Potter could.
I think we're better actually going forward over compared to Potter. No, we are better forward going forward. We are better.
No, we're not.
No, we are. No, Scott.
No, we're not. We created chances last season. Our biggest complaint last season was we missed chances.
Look how many goals we scored compared to last season.
The fact that we weren't scoring.
I remember with Potter for a good while, and then the season we weren't really creating that many chances. It was very stale.
Yeah. We are better than last season.
That's the reason I wanted them out. Nothing was going on defensively.
We are worse off than last season, by the way, guys. Statistically, on points, on everything, we are worse off.
Relatively speaking, we are, because you got to remember, Graham Potter didn't have a preseason. Pochettino did. Graham Potter had players that didn't want to be here. Poch doesn't. So relatively speaking, you have to hold Poch to a higher standard.
Okay, fair enough, but let's just cut the crap. Yeah, Poch was not good enough for this club. I mean, not Poch. Sorry, Potter was not good enough for this club. And if you want to compare Potter to Poch has definitely improved our attack, and he's made our defense worse, which I think is surprising. I'll give you that. I think we at the same time last season we had a better defensive record. Also, for us to get top 4, I looked at it a couple of days ago. The last 2 seasons, the people that finished 4th in the league had 67 points and 71 points. I think they were both Man United, I think. And for us to get to that point now with 17 wins in a row, I think that's just unrealistic right now. I think we have to set our sights on probably finishing in the top 6, where I think is more achievable. And I think I think
that had 2 calls.
But the thing is, Jason, Jason, we don't disagree with you. We thought, with this team, I said with this team, I don't know, I think Marshall said this as well, and so has others, that we probably should be aiming for Europa and Conference League. That's what we said. But the problem is, right now, in our current situation, in our current form, that is not possible. That is not possible. And Pochettino
But if you sack him, who are you going to get? There's no good manager out there. Hansi Flick is not a good manager. He's not good. I'm sorry, he's not good.
No.
Man won a sextuple with Bayern, and apparently he's not good.
You're saying
why is he not hired then?
Huh?
Why has he not got a job? Why has Hansi Flick not got a job?
I'm not saying bringing Hansi Flick.
Wait, hang on. Do you think if Ancelotti gets sacked, they're gonna start interviewing Hansi Flick? They're not gonna touch him. He's not a good manager. I'm telling you.
No. So we have someone in line for that.
Look at the pool of the current manager.
What'd you say?
I don't know. I think they're talking about the current manager. That's not for me. I'm talking to you in regards to where I thought we were gonna finish and the current situation that is where it is. Like, you know, whether we sack, we should sack. It doesn't matter if there's no manager or not. You can bring in an interim manager while you search for the right manager that you want.
What? So we're gonna bring in a Lampard again, yeah?
You don't need to be Lampard to be honest. The reason why they brought in Lampard was clearly for a PR reason. That's the only reason why they brought in Lampard, and we all know why. Yeah, already written the season off at that point.
You're gonna wheel out. You're gonna wheel out Gus Hiddink again.
One sec, Jason. You're
gonna wheel out Gus Hiddink again.
Are the league positions fugazi as well? Because we're only 10th because Everton got their points deducted. So we're 11th. Yeah, okay.
We're closer to the relegation than we are.
Sean Dyche's has more points than us, basically.
We can easily finish 7th Conference League. You do realize I think we're either 9 or 10 points already behind Conference League, right?
If we win Carabao Cup,
we can get Conference League. We're closer to the relegation zone than we are top 4.
Yeah.
And Jason, the other thing you were saying about Flick being a bum, I kind of disagree with that because we had another manager who was titled a bum, who joined mid-season, had a play style, and won us something, right?
I'm talking about Tuchel.
No, I'm talking about Tuchel. And what Flick did was he took over, once again, a team mid-season with Bayern and won 6 trophies with them, right? Very similar thing. He's joined Bayern after being in the German squad, so he knows how success is. He was second to that, how we make fun of Arsenal fans for Arteta being second to Pep. And then he won not the league that we're like, okay, they're going to win regardless. He won the Champions League that season, which not a lot of people until they started playing amazing when he joined that they won. We're like, oh yeah, it's inevitable now because that's the 8-2 game.
Could you explain to me why Hansi Flick is the only manager in history to get sacked by Germany?
Because the German squad is terrible.
Yeah, it's dog shit.
I'm sorry. We can't. How are we going to see
how's Nagelsmann doing with that German squad?
Exactly. Thank you.
They don't have a top striker or out and out recognised like number 1 right back. Striker and right back. There is a massive hole there.
Or left back.
They don't even have a left back.
Not really.
Like, I think Kai Havertz played left back. I don't see him screaming good left backs.
Yeah, we can't. Here's the thing. Joachim Löw had a golden generation for Germany. Okay, so you can't put this weird thing of before that generation too. You had the Ballack generation. This generation is the first generation where it's been shit. It's generally been kind of like with Brazil. Brazil has no right back and left back and shit like that, and this generation doesn't look as good. So we're seeing it without Neymar. We're seeing it clearly without Neymar. So
can I just reply a quick question to Vic? Yeah, Vic is a new manager will give them list of demands regarding recruitment. That's the only way any top manager will touch Chelsea. Right, but the thing is, you look at. I think look at our squad. How many more? I would say world class or upper class players do we need? I'll be honest with you. Like, if you look at, I think from a midfield and defense standpoint, definitely a left back. I would argue. Not so much the rest of the positions. Midfield, I would tend to say no, not really. Goalkeeper for sure. Maybe you could say 1 or 2 more wingers. I would argue, but other than that, really, you're only looking at, for me again. The point I'm trying to make is you're probably looking at best only 3 more players that you need to add on. 3 to 4 players that you would probably need to add to the squad, which is already what we've already said that they've already said that needs to be added to the squad for it to be complete. So
the thing is, though,
who are we kidding?
But Ahmed, the thing is, though, you're only looking at that from your perspective, and I do agree with you. But another manager will come in and just say, like, I don't rate this player, like I don't rate Enzo, or I don't rate Caicedo, and then so there is a point with that.
No, but the thing is,
but that is where it's on the board to be like they've got to find a manager, and this is where it does come down to them. And
guess what?
Their recruitment in terms of the manager side, where they've got to find a manager who's comfortable working with the 2 guys they've invested large amounts of money in.
And the thing is, though, like, you know, that's where, like you said, it comes to the board, and the reality is we're probably going to end up getting a manager none of us have heard of. So, I mean, if we're going to be patient,
I'm fine with that as long as it's start to play, man. I don't care. Like,
go ahead.
I don't care because people want to keep doing this like top manager thing, and it's the same argument I had with like the sporting directors. Because I'm happy to hear the argument for like Win Stanley leaving us getting someone else in, but don't use the argument of they've never been at a big club. Cool, like Newcastle currently in top 4. Do you know who their director of football is? Came from Brighton. Arsenal are top of the league right now with a guy who was working as a assistant before he had this job. This is his first managerial job. I don't care. I don't want to hear, oh, he was working under Pep. Cool. We've seen people. Ten Hag, by the way, worked under Pep at Bayern and is now flopping. So I don't hear he worked under Pep.
Scott, you know what it is? Yeah, people have to have a CV that is like the greatest of all time. Yeah, in order for you to be a top manager, you don't need that, bro.
Bro, I ain't even talking top anymore.
Experience argument all over again.
I just want competent in it. I don't even want.
That's what you need. You need competence. Like you just need a guy. Okay, listen. The reason why, even though Ange does have his faults, I don't mind Ange. Is that he's living and dying by his, ideology, and you can respect a man who lives and dies by his ideology. Pochettino, what is his ideology, bro?
Oh well,
listen, it was literally for preseason it was in Cuckoo and Sterling go bust. Then it became Carnage, Weka and Sterling go bust. Then it became Sterling go bust. Then it became Palmer and Sterling in retrust. And then
Gallagher or bust.
Yes, so like that's what I'm saying to you. Like it's almost like it's always one player we need, or bust. That's what it's becoming.
So, David,
and then when you read in comments like these comments I've been bringing up today, I'm making it even worse. The way he says we can't live only thinking in the past. We need to keep the culture and understand we are in Chelsea and always it's about winning. But the reality is completely different. What does that mean, bro? We don't need you to win all the time. We just want you to be consistent. I'm not even asking you to win all the time. Just play consistently with a style of play. That's what I'm asking you for. That works. And that clearly we can see the team is improving. That's all we're asking for, bro.
Before we really deep dive into that, obviously, David, I thank you for being patient. I want to give you an opportunity to have your say on this topic and what you have on your mind. If you're there, I don't know, your mic is still muted.
Yeah, I'm there.
All right, brother. Let me know your thoughts, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course, thanks for being patient.
Yeah, it's always nice to listen to you guys at night before I go to sleep.
Pause, but okay.
No, just something. Yeah, pause. But it just has something to do when I can't speak, basically.
All good, brother.
But yeah, so I mean, I think kind of like going to the point of thinking about Poch and whether or not he needs to be here. I'm going back to the Man United match. When that match, I think for me, obviously a lot of people kind of felt broken after the match. For me, I think the reason why was I felt like the match was going to be a stamp in terms of just saying, okay, Chelsea are now here, we're established now, you can kind of count on the team to do stuff and to maybe have a run of games. And after the match, I guess the feeling that I have now when I look at the team is just kind of a feeling of just not knowing. So like, even if we were to beat Everton, let's say on Sunday 3-1, I'm not sure I'd be too happy because I wouldn't be sure what kind of Chelsea you get in the match after. So I think it's that reality that kind of like made me feel like, fuck, like this is, like it's maybe it's over. Like maybe we're just a mid-table club now. Like maybe that's all it is. Like maybe this is the end of it for us basically. And just thinking about, whether or not it's Poch or the players, whether or not it's the players are just not good enough or whether or not it's Poch. I think the key thing is that there's too many managers in the league right now with who have had teams who are in relegation, who are close to relegation, who as Chelsea fans, none of us would have been looking at those teams as we want this player, we want that player. And all of a sudden, those players are now, those teams are now ascending in the league. They're fighting for top 4. They're already in top 4, some of them. So when you see those kind of situations in the league, it's difficult to look at Poch and just be like, well, yeah, like this is just on the players, especially when you look at the Man United match, and it looked like we didn't have any idea what we were doing in the whole match. So for me, I feel like when it's on the players, you can kind of see certain things that the team is doing. Like if you look at the Zerbi, they're not doing as well as they were doing last year, I don't think. And you can see they're losing a lot of matches, but you can still see like certain things there to say, okay, yeah, like the Zerbi is doing his thing, but the players are just not good enough, basically. You know, so I think for me, it's like if you look at our players, there's so many of our guys like Modric, Jackson, who I think have so much ability, but they just need a manager to sit them down and actually coach them into like actually making the right decisions. Because you can see with Modric, there's so much things he has in terms of the burst of pace, being able to be decisive. I think he's actually quite decisive in the final third. Maybe his execution is not great, but he's decisive in terms of knowing what he wants to do, whether or not he wants to pass the ball or shoot. But they need a manager who's going to properly coach them into having good decision making. And in terms of what manager would you get in over Poch, I think you've got to go for Hansi Flick. I know that there's a guy on that said, yo, why isn't Hansi Flick hired? He's a terrible coach. Like, I mean, even if you remove the Bayern situation, if you look at some of the football that Germany played in the World Cup, it was some of the best football in the whole tournament. But the problem was they just couldn't finish. Basically, they didn't have a good enough striker, and they had obviously Musiala like basically hogging the ball and not making the right decision in the final third. So for me, those are the kind of managers I want. I want managers who I feel like when they go into matches, they're not thinking about, oh, I'm just here to like hopefully not lose. No, they're going into matches with a impetus to try to win and with a set plan of how they want to play. I don't feel like we have a full plan now in terms of how we want to play. I think there is a pattern of play, but it kind of changes from match to match. And ultimately, when you look at Poch, he's too much of a coward. And I think I saw that in the first match in terms of putting Chilwell in the left wing. But you can also see that in the Man United match where he was about to put Maatsen on to basically help James, I think, and then or whoever the right back was. And then when we conceded a goal, he told Maatsen to put the bid back on. So you can see his mentality already. His mentality is, let's just not lose. There's no sense of we're trying to win the match. We're trying to dominate the match.
He said as much against Bournemouth.
What was that, sorry?
He said as much against Bournemouth. He said after the Bournemouth game,
protect the point.
Yeah. There's no real sense of like trying to win the match. And I think the thing I'm scared of right now, I'm not going to say the owners are stupid. I think the owners they've tried a strategy, it's not worked out, and that's fine. You know, you can try things, but the problem now is how are you going to rectify it? I don't think these guys have the heart to sack Poch. I think there's too much of a sense of how stupid they'll look if they do sack him, because
it would be mad. The PR would be disastrous.
Yeah, there's too much of a sense of how stupid they'll look if they sack him. And then I think the other problem would be if they do sack him, which is kind of the kind of catch-22 we're in, is that you might then have issues with getting a new manager in, because the new manager might be saying, like if you've had about 3 managers now, like, do I really want to put myself in the same situation?
That is a good point.
So right now it's looking like, unfortunately, we're going to have to ride out with Poch to the end of the season. Like that's what it's looking at right now, because I don't trust these guys to get rid of him. And also the problem is going to be that even if you're trying to get a Hansi Flick, he might be saying, you know, I want assurances that you're not going to get rid of me in a year if this doesn't go well. And he might also be saying, you know, look at the players you have. Look at what they did last year with another manager. Look at what they're doing with this manager. So, you know, I'm not going to take the fall if things go wrong.
Yeah, man. That's the thing, bro. And big up Marshall, man. Thanks for having me on, man. And
yeah, of course, man.
After the Minerals FC, I always said it, bro. My job is to land it. And as I said, man, Poch for me, he isn't that work. Yeah, let's have it right, man. He isn't that world class yet, right? And Poch isn't really a world class manager. And
Big up Curry. Thanks for coming on.
And realistically, realistically there's nobody to replace him. Like the market is low right now, and like you had like some injuries, in Kunku and this that, and the other, and even Lavia and Portugal. You can see it, bro. He drew Man City, bro. Who are the benchmark, bro? Everyone before the game thought that you get battered by them, and he didn't, bro. He showed them up. You know what I mean? He showed up against Arsenal, showed up against most of the big six apart from Man United. And yesterday, it could have gone anywhere, man. If Modric made the right decisions and this and the other, and you can't blame that on Poch. And he wanted some experience, and Ted Lasso and Siri Merchant are not delivering, bro. This model needs to stop, bro.
I don't know if anyone wants to add to that. I mean, I definitely have plenty to add to that, but I want to let you guys have your say.
I'll talk about the ownership for a minute, because it's definitely right to have questions at this point. This is,
of course,
this is their second permanent hiring. They've got it completely wrong, and I know we talked about before sack the board. Listen, when it comes to the board, or particularly the directors, Winstanley and Stewart, they only provided the set list. No, not the short. They provided the short list of the managers that had what was it? It had Pochettino on it. It had Postecoglou on it. Slot from Feyenoord and one other company. They only provided that to Bowley and Egbali, and from there, those two made the final decision. So it's definitely right to have questions. It's just kind of this thing where people are saying, like, is there anyone out there that can benefit us in the short or long term? To that, I argue, it's not Poch. Certainly not Poch at the moment, or on current evidence.
Can I just add to that quickly?
Go for it, man.
Yeah, like I don't think I don't think you can sack the board, because I think a lot of the actions the board has taken is a result of the ownership. And I say that because if you look at the way we hired the managers, like, it was very, for me, I don't know if anyone has any other insight, but I think it was very unorthodox. Like, really and truly, when you are in the business of football, it's not like other businesses where, you don't know a person, you're interviewing them, you're interviewing a range of people to try to gauge whether or not they can do the job. Like, in the footballing world, the footballing people know who the best managers are. Like, they don't need to interview. They don't need to interview the
model that's the problem, bro. You know what I mean?
They don't need to interview 5 or 6 different guys. They know who the best managers are. The only question is, are you willing to have compromise with us on these few things? And if you're not, then we move on and we find this. So I think really and truly, the two guys, I forgot their name, Winstanley and Stewart. I think if they had their way, they probably would have hired one of either Enrique or Nagelsmann. But I think the board wanted a manager who would be willing to kind of adhere to what they wanted. And so that's why they had the interviewing process, because they were trying to iron that out, like, in terms of, okay, this is what we want to do. Are you willing to kind of play with us on that?
I think it's as simple as this. I think, like, it just comes down to the fact that they got egg on their face by hiring Potter within a week after sacking Tuchel, and they wanted to look like in the public that they're actually taking considerations this time.
He was a mid-table merchant, and it shows that they want a yes man in charge, and it's about youth and Epstein FC model, bro. And that's not Chelsea, bro. Chelsea's about winning, yeah. And they hate as much as I hate you guys, yeah. You're the big dogs of London, man. And that and even that pains me, bro. And right now the owners are handing out PR Happy Meals, bro. And some of the brand names.
You're not a Chelsea fan.
I think he's an Arsenal fan.
He's an Arsenal fan. He's here to be the Johnny Minnell's soundboard of the evening.
He was a Chelsea fan, but he got exposed last season for being an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this was
I was never Chelsea, mate. I was never Chelsea, man.
Listen, man, we're open to all fan bases.
Let's just move on.
Prime, talk to me, man.
Understand what was going on.
Pick up everyone. What in particular is the question? Marshall?
No, really, where you stand with the whole situation. Like, I guess the better question should be, what do you think is the solution going forward? Should we sack Poch? Should we sack the board? Should we look into new transfer? Like, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, like, yeah, Poch isn't. Yes, we can sack him, or we should sack him. But what exactly does this club want to do? What do they want to be? You know, if that makes sense. Because when you look at, was it you, Marshall, or I think Scott was talking about the shortlist, and they mentioned Now Guzman. There was Enrique on there. I think Ange was on there
Scott
as well.
brought that up, yeah.
Company was on there. Slot from Final was on there.
Why was it Hansi Flick on there?
That's all very mixed. The most experience on there is Enrique. You've got inexperience in Company. You've got someone like Poch who has been at the highest level and failed, or not been able to like win. You've got Now Guzman who, I mean, you can say whether or not she failed at Bayern. I don't think he necessarily did, but you've got him there. You've got Slot who might be interesting, but I don't think he wanted to leave where he was at. Like, it's all very. It doesn't show me a clear plan of what exactly they wanted to do. Like, what's the difference between, like, because getting Poch and hiring an Enrique, it's two very different type of like managers and personalities. Enrique wants to win now, so why is he even on that list if our plan was to develop young kids for the future?
But that's what I'm saying. Like the way they hired managers didn't make sense, because, like I said, you know who the best managers are. You don't have to have like a conveyor belt of people you're speaking to. You go to Enrique and say, "Do you want the job? Are you going to compromise with us? No, fair enough, cool. Next one up. Now Guzman, do you want the job? Are you going to compromise? Nope. Next one up. You're not supposed to be like speaking to like different people. It's because I think they're not thinking of it in like, they're not thinking of football in terms. They're thinking of it still in like, I don't want to say the word, but kind of American terms. Really,
I don't even think so though.
I think so.
I don't mind. I don't mind having a shortlist, like, because that kind of like it kind of makes sense. Like, you have that.
Prime, I think he means the interviewing, the 2 months.
No. But again, I don't necessarily, because when you're looking, for example, for players, like, you look at player profiles. I don't mind that. But if you're looking to buy, for example, I don't know, random example. If you're looking to buy a striker, and you're looking at Harry Kane, you're looking at Jesus, you're looking at random strikers who, they're all very different from each other in terms of profile. That doesn't make sense, because how do any of them suit what you're trying to do? Do people understand my example? Like, you're looking at Poch, Enrique, and that's all very complete. I don't mind having a short list. Your short list should show that all these managers are very like similar in terms of their approach, their style of play, their mannerisms, and getting us to where we're trying to go. So if you don't get one guy and you get your second or third choice, it's still quite the same in terms of a philosophy.
But that's what I'm saying.
How different is Luis Enrique from Poch? Style of play wise, then
very different. But that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Because if you think about it, hiring a manager is kind of not very different from hiring a football player, right? Yeah. Because the manager is not going to be. I mean, in this age in football, the manager is not really making decisions about what players you buy. It's kind of like, okay, what profile do you want? Cool. We're gonna try to get a few players around that kind of profile. So when you buy a player, you don't interview the player you don't interview a range of players. You have a set you have a set profile of players you want, and you go through them from best to worst in terms of what you can get. So it should be the same for managers. You have a range of managers. Enrique is attacking. A lot of these managers are attacking. You go through them, and then you kind of. But I feel like you can see in the way they've tried to do it that there's not really a sense of like, this is how football works. And you can also see that in terms of the players. Like, if you look at the history of football, there's only two young teams that have done anything in the history of football. 1992. Exactly. 1992 Man United, and just recently Arsenal. So you know,
they didn't win
anything. No. Of course, they've not won it, but we can all see they're doing well. Like we can all see they're doing well, right? But and that's the thing. So it's like even in that sense, most people are going to say, okay, you want to be successful, don't spend £1 billion on these young players. You could have bought Osimhen, you could have bought Leao, you could have bought all these players who they're not old, but they're experienced enough in terms of high level football. But I feel like they had the kind of sense of, okay, we can get these players with potential, and the thing is, if they do well, wonderful, maximize you know, the situation. If they don't do well, then maybe we can still flip them.
But you know, if I can reply to you again, I don't think the issue is experience, bro. It really, for me, is not. It's not. You know, it's not the experience, bro. It's the quality is more than enough there. The experience is not, you know, as big as many people are making out to be. Love and trust, man.
Also, what cracks me up is included in that billion, by the way, that everyone keeps talking about, is what we spent last summer. Which most of what we bought last summer was experience. Koulibaly, who was shit. Aubameyang, who was shit. Sterling, who most people said last season was shit. Cucurella, who people say is shit. So we bought experience last season. They also wanted as well Ronaldo. They also wanted Neymar. But so like, this is why I don't think the experience thing and the age thing actually comes from the owners. I think the age thing that everyone talks about comes from the sporting directors.
Nah, man, I think it comes from the owners. I think it comes from the owners because it doesn't make sense.
They did a complete 180.
It doesn't make sense to be spending 40-35 million on young players. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like
exactly, Scott.
When you want to, if you and I think it's actually, I think they think it's low risk, but I think it's actually in a way high risk in and of itself, because when you look at most other teams, when they buy these young players, they're spending like 15 mil, 10 mil on them. So the loss even then is like even more minimized. And you're accounting for the fact that a lot of young players are not going to make it. So like it's confusing to me why they're spending, but I think what they're trying to do is, like I said, is maximize the whole thing of like, these are guys that could be really great. Let's get in before everyone else, kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous thing, David.
I wanna quickly reply to a comment about that one I'll reply to, but the one before it about stop talking about the style. I'm sick. I'm sick of it. Style doesn't matter if you're winning. Ten Hag hasn't gotten a style in 18 months. But do you know what? But do you know what's happening? We had a Ten Hag team from 2017 to 2023. We were that type of team. We didn't really necessarily have a style, but what were we doing? We were just able to just, get that squeaky win, lucky win. Huh?
Individual
brilliance. Thank you. Exactly. We were like that for 5 years. We literally were dying of like top 4 mediocrity because we were never going to be second, but we were never going to be first, but we were always going to be in the 3rd or 4th spot with the squad that we had at the time. So like, why? I
hate the previous comment as well. This idea that no manager can fix this bollocks. Fucking
bullshit. That's bullshit. Like, we literally have reality.
So that's why last season Aston Villa, who were one place above the relegation zone, decided fuck this, we're sacking Steven Gerrard and we're going to go to Villarreal. How much do you want for Unai Emery? You want this much? We'll spend that much. They finished like 6th.
Yeah, even Newcastle, bro.
They were below us. Aston Villa were below us last season and finished like 6th.
All right.
West Ham.
What I said, we need someone that's gonna come in who's gonna provide a style of play that's gonna be consistent and that we can give somewhat time with. Yeah, and that is at least gonna give us results. I said Javi Alonso. So I honestly said that Javi Alonso probably would be one of them. Yeah.
But come on, man.
The next guy I thought was probably De Zerbi, but even him, I worried that because of the 70 million release, it's got to be too costly to bring him in. We've already the stuff we've been doing.
So let's say we hire this new manager and then go for another bad patch of form quite soon after we hire them. What happens then? Or do we
sack him and get a new one?
No. The problem is, Jason, I said this year, I don't mind going through a bad patch of form here. If I am seeing a sign of play, if I'm seeing there's something that's going on,
I think that's a lie. I think that's a lie. I think most people, like, they don't care about style of play. They don't care about performance. They care about results. I think we have to be very honest. Most people care about the result. I believe that, like,
listen,
because
they might not care, but if I am seeing that we are actually moving somewhere, going somewhere, then I can sit back and relax. But the problem is here, and I will say this again: the reason why I can't stand by and relax here when it comes to Poch is all three are not happening. Two of that three are not happening. Yes, we're not winning. Okay, I can understand. Okay, if we're not winning. But the problem is there's no style of play and there's a lack of player progression that's taking.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Let me play like devil's advocate. Of course, like this is unacceptable for Chelsea, and any manager would get sacked and this, that, and the other, and so forth. Yeah, and Poch isn't that elite, to be honest. But one thing he's got is he's a proven manager. He got top 4 consistently, and blah blah blah, right? And so forth. Yeah. Poch, you saw his style against Man City and all that, bro. So you can't go at him, and you've had some injuries this season, bro. Come on, bro. You can't blame it all on Poch.
The players that are injured, like the players that are injured. There's only one player that's going to make a difference if he comes back. That's Nkunku. That's the only one. That's the only one. There's only one guy that's going to make a difference.
Hold on. All this hope coming from the fans and coming from Poch and all this hope about Nkunku making a difference.
Yeah.
When Nkunku comes back and we are just as bad, then what?
So Nkunku comes back, yeah.
Then it's the manager. Yeah, the manager needs to go.
That's subjective, Prime. That's subjective, bro.
Who we drop?
Wait. Hold on. Minerals. How is it subjective? Being bad is not subjective.
I don't think that was Minerals. I think that was Jason, was it?
Oh, okay, no,
I'm asking if Nkunku comes back, who we dropping from the starting 11? And what
Gallagher or Jackson? Like, can I mention something about this whole thing of sacking managers? I don't understand why there's this kind of like because it seems to me like when people talk about sacking managers, they're speaking about it in almost in a sense of like this is kind of like the zeitgeist of Chelsea now. Like we can't sack managers too early. It's like we're going back to the old Chelsea. Mm-hmm. We can't. No, like the only thing that should stop you sacking a manager when things are going wrong is if there's no other available managers. That's the only thing. Because when it boils down to it, no top team in the world, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, these kind of teams are going to have a manager who's in 10th and just languishing and be like, yeah, it's okay, it's a process. They're not standing for it. So those teams.
But do you know what the reality is, though? The reality is we're not them. That's just the facts. We're not Bayern and we're not Real Madrid.
We're in a totally different league.
The reality is that we can literally compete with them and buy the same players they do.
I mean, here's the thing.
That's the reality. That's the reality.
David, I see your point, David, but the thing is, like, you got to take it to context that those are different leagues where the expectations are totally different. Whereas
also, sorry, I've just got to point something out as well. Talking about sacking managers too early and talking about these teams, Real Madrid hired Solari as their manager on the end of October. November, December, January, February. 5 months later, he was sacked.
I don't get it's like why are we aspiring to be like Arsenal and all these kind of teams? Those are the teams we should be aspiring to be. And the problem now that we have is when managers are coming in, they're coming almost with a sense of like, oh yeah, this is not the Chelsea of old. Maybe I don't really have to push it. I can just kind of chill for a bit, and if things go wrong, it's not the end of the world. The reason why, even as bad as it was in the 2017 to 2023 period, even as bad as it was then, we're still making it to FA Cup finals, League Cup finals. It's because the mentality was there that, yeah, like, okay, we might not be as good as we were in the past, but we're not going to be standing for like being 10th and all this kind of BS.
I hear everything you're saying, David. And I kind of agree with a lot of what you're saying. But the problem, bro, was, we were in mediocrity, bro. We were never going to go up above from where we were. That's the problem, bro.
And
you know what I'm saying? This is what I've been saying. Right. Since we last won, the last manager that we had, for example, that kind of had like a style of play was, as I've said on this channel many times before, was Sarri. And we couldn't, the fan base and the ownership couldn't take him for one season.
The ownership could. I think it was the fan base could.
Sarri left on his own accord, so it wasn't the ownership.
Sarri left on his own.
No, but more so,
left But if you
Sorry,
Chelsea
played the
fans
most
weren't
boring
saying,
football ever.
Yeah, but
That's pressure.
but the fan base after what happened with the 4-0 loss to Bournemouth and then the 6-0 loss to Man City were never able to essentially, accept him as the man as manager because of those performances.
Bro, that's irrelevant, man. If
No. But the point I'm trying to make,
there,
no. The reason why I'm trying to make the point in
You
a
go
way
on,
is that
sorry.
he was the last guy that had like a style of play. Afterwards, all the managers
Tuchel had a style of play. Why do you keep saying this? Tuchel
did not have a style of play.
He had a style of play. I mean,
he
it might
was
not have been successful. It might not have been successful towards the end, but he had a style of play.
He didn't have Tuchel didn't have a style of play. I think he was more so he was tactically astute. What I mean by that is that he essentially was able to play was essentially able to tactic his thing against the other opposing team. That's how he did his thing. He wasn't really at a set style principle that he was playing with our team week in, week out.
Tuchel's style of play was high possession, build up slow, attack through the wings. That was his style of play.
He was adaptable to the players we had. He was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you.
He might have adapted, but the style of play was still the same. Chelsea was a slow build up, was a slow build up team who attacked through the wings.
But David, he was complaining about the slowness. He himself in press conference would be like, "We're too slow in transition. We're too slow in doing everything."
Do you remember the clip with Gallagher against West Ham?
And where he literally complained. Yeah,
but that's being too slow in transition. There's a difference between build up and transition.
But that's what he was complaining about. He's being complaining about the build up. The build was too slow. Oliver just made a good point about the Gallagher video where he was saying the build up.
He was screaming on the sideline.
Yes,
right. The whole thing of like build up being slow, I don't even know why that's an issue, because Man City are the slowest playing team in the league, so that's irrelevant. Like
they're the best passing team.
Problem,
no, but no, they're the best.
But they play slow. If playing slow is an issue, then it should affect them too, shouldn't it?
No. But for Tuchel, that was not the case we're making. I'm not saying that it's the same for Man City, but for him, he wanted it to be fast. That was what we're trying to say, bro.
I'm not gonna read too much into what we're talking about, but for me, I think the style of play was present. I mean, maybe the problem, like I said, is because people want the results. When the results aren't going well, they'll say, "Yeah, you haven't got a style of play." And even going to your point about being in mediocrity, were we truly in mediocrity, or were we actually in mediocrity compared to Man City and Liverpool? Because
we were
wait. Let me finish. Yeah. Did you know that in Tuchel's season, the season before things went wrong, Chelsea scored the 4th most goals in Europe. Did you know that? But the problem is, when the results aren't going well, people will they'll let that color their perspective. Like, so for me, it's like, we can talk about mediocrity if we want. The facts of the matter is, our mediocrity in that period was still top 4. And the issue was, we had 2 unbelievable teams in front of us. Teams that are getting 90 points, 100 points, like ridiculous. Like, they're winning most leagues in Europe. So it wasn't great, but I don't think it was as bad as people are saying it was.
Okay, so David, I'm gonna hit you with that point. So the season you're talking about with Tuchel, where we became the 4th highest, fourth highest scoring. What was the complaint at the time? Do you remember? Because I remember what the complaint at the time was. Our centre backs, our wing backs were scoring the majority of the goals that were taking place in that season. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, you're talking about the 21-22 season is the season that he's talking about, right, Oliver? I'm not mistaken.
And not only the centre backs and the wing backs, you have Jorginho's penalties as well.
Jorginho was So like, we need to
top goal scorer one season, by the way.
The thing I want to also add here, you're making the point that Man City and Liverpool were just too good. That is the problem, though. If we are so-called the Chelsea, the team that needs to be one of the teams that should be actively challenging for a title each season, how can we be continuing just being 3rd and 4th just because Man City and then these guys are better than us? Because they've got better players. But we can't just say that, bro.
Yeah, but Ahmed, that wasn't Tuchel's fault though, because we were.
No. I'm not saying it's Tuchel's fault. He's saying, his question was, we were in mediocrity because the other 2 teams above us were too good and everything like that. And my point I'm trying to make here is that that's a failure then on the ownership then, because they should be clearly making sure that changes are happening to be able to.
But Ahmed, that failure is on Roman
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said ownership. Prime. Yeah, that's his question. His question is, is that mediocrity because we were bad?
No. My statement was it was mediocrity, but that level of mediocrity is not as bad.
Is relative.
Was not as bad as what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
This isn't mediocre though. This is tragic.
As it is now.
Exactly. That's the point. This isn't even like mediocre. This is terrible. And I mean, if mediocre is being third like 2 seasons in a row, I'm pretty sure that everyone in this space would love to be mediocre right now.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I'm sorry, no, man.
But that's just lowering the standards. We want titles.
I do wanted to ask Ahmed, because you did say this before, that you prefer the style of play versus results. I feel like that mentality is what kind of drove us away from a manager like Jose, where we were getting results, but we were sick and tired of playing this counterattack football, into what we're searching for now, which has been a downhill of not getting results as frequently as we were, not winning as many trophies as we used to, haven't been challenging for the Prem, so on and so forth. So I wanted your thoughts on that.
But there's a balance.
But Marshall, what's his name? Jose was playing a style of play. His style of play was just very defensive, whereas the other guys that play have style of plays that are a lot more offensive, right? People may not have been happy about their defensive style of play and want to be a bit more attacking. That's fair. But I don't mind if you bring in a manager that's very defensive and plays a defensive style of football. But then if that wins you league titles, wins you everything like that, I'm happy to see.
Marshall, what Ahmed is saying is he wants effectiveness. It's not, because again, style of play.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all. Hold on. It's all your preference. What some people like, tiki taka, gegenpress. Who cares? As long as you're effective and you're winning, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
That's the point I'm making. Is that it's the results that matter. People don't care about style of play. They care about results. Chelsea were known as boring Chelsea for how many years? We didn't care because we were winning.
We got results.
But there was a style behind that. I think we can
exactly. That's the point.
It wasn't attractive.
I think we're confusing style of play for attractiveness.
That's my point. That's the point I'm making. Is that the problem is not that there's no style of play. There's a style of play. It's not.
No, there is. That is a problem in the Poch.
It's not effective. It's not effective.
Poch is a problem, bro. I'll be honest with you, bro.
Under Poch is a problem. That's what I'm on the side of. Like, I just want to see a style of play, because like under Potter, I thought at the beginning there was one, and then as soon as things started going wrong, he threw that all out of the window just to get results. Like, he threw his whole style of play out the window to play a style that just got results, and it didn't work. And that's kind of.
Do you guys believe that Tottenham have a good style of play right now?
Yes.
Yeah. I was in a space yesterday of Tottenham fans. These guys were complaining about how they played in the match.
Yeah.
I watched the match. I watched the match. They played okay, but they were complaining because they lost. So it's like I'm gonna keep coming back to it. Like, even if the style of play is good, we're seeing good patterns and all this kind of stuff. Because I'll be very honest, towards the end of Potter's reign, I wasn't actually too mad about him being there, because I could see stuff happening. I could see like the play improving, and so I wasn't too mad about him being there. I was hoping for him to remain to the end of the season, because I could actually see a few things. The problem with most fans is people preach to the end of the world that, yeah, I just want a style of play and pattern and all this kind of stuff. When the results are going bad, you're not going to care about the style of play. That's the reality.
Facts.
I think there's
just so they can sleep at night. Scott, you want to say what you want to say?
I'll address him in a moment. I'm going to finish my point first.
Yeah, go for it.
He can wait. The thing is, like, I think there's a threshold and there's a level to it. Because, like, I was there with Potter last season, where, like, even when we were losing games, and even though the moments that were shit, I was still happy in some games because there were certain things I could hold on to. And it's like, my mindset at the time was, if you can focus on those things and improve everything else, stuff will come with time. Whereas with Poch, I'm seeing nothing of that. There's nothing for me to hold on to in this team. Like, there's nothing, because we'll go from one game to, like, Reece will have a good game, then he'll play shit. Cool. That's not anything to hold on to. That's just, he's going to turn up one game and he's not going to turn up the next. And that's the thing. And I think there is a certain point where, like, results do matter. As I said, it's a threshold where, like, as long as you're not losing every game, as long as you're not drawing every game, as long as you are at least with the getting a style of play, you're at least competing with other teams. I think obviously there's going to be a lot of fans that just want the results. I think a lot of fans can give you leeway. I would have done with Poch this season. If I'd seen a style of play, if we played better, if we'd had a style of play and we'd gotten a few more points in terms of we beat Bournemouth, we beat Forest, we beat who else did we play that we lost to or drew to that we shouldn't have done? Brentford as well. Yeah, if we beat those teams, that's an extra 9 points. We're a bit higher at the table. I give Poch more time, but I'm not seeing a style of play.
So
protects the point against Bournemouth. We lost to Forest, and his way of trying to fix us against Forest was throw everything but the kitchen sink at Forest and try and break them down. He still can't break down low blocks. He's done nothing as a manager. That's what I'm not giving him time. Also, just before you go on that point, just to address Vic in the chat, I did make actually I did give a solution earlier on. It was just shot down by someone in the stream. But I'd sack Poch, get Flick, ride that out to the end of the season. In terms of in January, I don't know if I'd sign anyone in January, to be completely honest with you, because I don't think that signing any players is going to fix what we're in right now. I think a lot of what we're in right now is a tactical issue rather than a player issue in terms of ability. There's certain players I don't think are good enough, but I think a better manager could make them serviceable. And then in the summer, you go again in terms of you go and get Osimhen, like you do whatever the fuck it takes, you go and get him. You start to actually build a core. Like it looked like we were doing that, and then Poch has decided that part of that core includes a 39-year-old who likely come the summer won't be here anymore. So fuck knows what's going on there. And then you build a core with the 2 centre backs that should be starting, the 2 midfielders, and Nkunku. That's your starting 5, and you build around that.
I think you can buy new players if you have a new manager.
Scott, what I was going to ask, so do you think that Potter's style of play was visually better than Poch's right now?
Yes. In terms of visually and in terms of what it produced, like the biggest criticism we had of Potter, at least that I saw of Potter last season for his system, I'm talking the system that he was playing basically before January, because after January, he threw everything out the window. I don't know why he did. It's the main criticism I had. He threw everything out the window just to try and get results, and it fucked him even more. Is like we were defensively solid as a team. We even created chances. It wasn't a lot of chances, and they weren't always the most clear cut, but we created a decent amount of chances. You could see though at that point that like the attackers we had just weren't it. Like Havertz weren't it. We had like Ziyech weren't it. These guys, they just weren't it because they couldn't finish. But there was something where like, okay, you can see the makings of something here. Like you've got kind of like the foundation. You just need to improve the quality in the attacking line. Whether we did or not is another debate. Whether we actually did or not, another debate. But there was stuff you could build on in terms of from defensive solidity. This season, we front all of that out the window.
Okay, so when we bought those players in January, and we got a little bit of extra quality we did with Potter. What was your thoughts on the style of play during that time?
In terms of the whole style of play
and the production.
What we're getting right now. The problem we had is there was a lot of individual performances that were very good, but the team performance wasn't great. Like Enzo, what he was getting out of Enzo and Badiashile, and even though he didn't score a lot, Felix, I thought was very good. He knew how to use those guys. But as a team, overall as a team, it wasn't great.
But okay,
it's switched.
So how can we pinpoint an individual's performance being better with Potter's, but not the whole team's performance being better with Potter's? It doesn't make sense to me. Like,
we're better this year than Potter last year, man. We're better this year. It's too clear. We're better this year. We're better this year. We're creating more chances. We're creating more chances than last year. Like we look like a better team. The problem, I think our defense is worse, definitely, yes. But
I think our midfield as well. I actually don't think any of our, apart from maybe an attack, but I think
the midfield's hit and miss. It's hit and miss. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's shit. I don't.
Our midfield's only good when we have Gallagher. Facts.
Like, but I think
we built a problem because he's our worst midfielder.
So was it terrible when Henderson was Liverpool's most important midfielder during that time, or one of them?
Henderson can do stuff like that Gallagher can't do. Like Henderson can control the ball.
Hold on.
Henderson actually, he wasn't even their most important midfielder, by the way. He wasn't even their most important midfielder. But what he gave you was leadership on the pitch. That was the main thing he gave.
Yeah.
Also, there's also a fact as well. He had to deal with like a 40-man roster, which is fucking insane. And that is on the owners, by the way. That's on the owners not getting rid of players. Their most important midfielders went out.
more.
Just on Henderson, by the way, they compensated for a guy like Henderson by having creative fullbacks that were getting as far up the pitch as possible. Poch plays Colwell as a left back. No, he plays Colwell there on purpose and willingly when he had Chilwell available, who's arguably, say what you will about defensively, he's arguably our best attacking threat down the left, and he still played Colwell.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you can have slightly limited players in the system as long as you are compensating or there are what they're lacking. You can compensate in other areas. Like for example, with Arsenal, no one's going to sit here and say that Xhaka was the best midfielder. But what he gave Arsenal in that team allowed a player like Zinchenko to work and allowed certain players to work because what he was going to give you mitigated the weaknesses that a defender or having someone like Zinchenko was.
Let me ask this question. Don't you think in the most games that Gallagher's played, Enzo's been able to control games better? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Not really.
I was going to say not really.
Not really. Like, I don't really think so.
Especially when Enzo is playing in a number 10. That's another problem.
Because I'll be completely honest, and this isn't a knock on, and I think this comes back to the manager. I don't remember many games this season where Enzo's controlled that midfield.
Maybe
yeah, I mean, nearly 80 of you guys watching. Make sure you are smashing that like button because it does help out the channel.
For me,
I hope you're enjoying the content. Go ahead.
Sorry, I mean, I don't want anyone to get misconstrued. I would sack Poch in in a second if I could, but I'm just trying to be fair. Like for me, I would say the football has been better this year than last year. Like I'm just going to be honest and say that it has been, but I'm not gonna lie and say that it's good because you can tell that there's a problem because it's too up and down. There's no
football has not been better this season.
It has been better.
But the thing is, hang on, fine.
That's a reasonable debate you can have. What I will say is the fact that's even a debate is what should be concerning.
By the way, I just want to prime, even if the style of play, let's just assume the style of play is better, just for the sake of this argument. We turned up to the Bernabeu last season with Kante and Gallagher on the left wing. Can it get any worse?
That's the point. There should be no debate. There should be no debate as to whether it's good or not. Like it should be.
It has gotten worse. This is worse. This is worse.
I think it is worse. I'm just playing a bit of devil's advocate there by saying even if it is better, then
all the sympathy, all the devil's advocate, Poch doesn't deserve it. Like
I don't think it's for me. I don't think it's devil's. I think it's just a statement of fact. I think if you look at Potter's metrics last year,
it's not
everything. Everything was terrible. No.
It's not.
I'll explain why. Last year, the reason why I came, I don't know. I think I was on another stream yesterday with Scott, and I said that one of the issues I had with the ownership was that they didn't have to wait till after like if matches are like for so many matches after Southampton to sack Poch, because even before Southampton, if you looked at the metrics of Chelsea, everything was terrible. We weren't creating chances. Our possession was low. We weren't defending that great. So it was like there was nothing to say that this guy needed to be at the club. Whereas if you look at this season, Chelsea are creating a lot of big chances, but we're missing. So there's things there's categorical things you can look at in this season to say that yes, we are playing better. That doesn't mean that we should keep Poch. It's just the fact that we are playing better.
David, we also had like vastly much worse players last season. We had Havertz up top. We had midfielders who either didn't stay fit or wanted to leave. Jorginho was our DM for half of the season. Like we had much worse players last season. We have better players now that everyone rates, and we don't look good at all. We're lower in the league.
And I think on Prime's point, I do think that's one of the things for me giving up with Poch is because I look at this team and I go, taking out the question marks you have of the front line, like if you just go like mid, I would say we are better in terms of you go man for man. I'd argue we're better than we were last season on paper at least. So you would theoretically suggest that regardless of if there's going to be teething issues in terms of the style of play, regardless of if there's going to be problems in terms of injuries, you'd assume that with a guy like Poch, who, again, all of this, what I'm talking is on paper and from assumptions, you'd assume that he has the ability to coach at least to a top 4 level, even at worst a top 6 level. You'd hope we were like 7th, 8th at worst. The fact that realistically, come the end of this weekend, we could be 14th if results go against us. Or something like that.
What I do want to add to David's points, like I see where he's coming from, but it also is a little subjective. Like if you prefer to be more defensively sound, but you see that we're just incompetent in front of goal when it comes to finishing our chances, then you'll say Potter's style of play was better than this season. And this season, yes, we're definitely scoring more goals and against good sides, by the way, but we're also leaking in the back. So then you would say that this season's worse than last season, or this season, is better than last season. You prefer the attack. So it's really a preference and where you see the football. But, before we continue on the topic, I do want to let Cali King CFC have his say. Big up. Welcome to the show, my friend. What are you thinking? What are you saying? How do you feel?
Oh, we're in the mud. I just wanted to see what everybody was discussing. I'm not even here to sugarcoat shit, respectfully. Like, our standards are in the mud. Everything's in the mud. Genuinely. Like, genuinely. It's interesting to me because it's like, no, it doesn't. How do I explain this with Poch? You sack him now, we go back another year and a half. So what's the point? Genuinely, what's the point? The players need developing.
What do you think is your solution then? Go on. Yeah.
All this. Yeah, I'll give you the quick end of it. Essentially, when we had Tuchel, who everyone started wrongfully despising towards the end because the style of play was atrocious, despite the fact we have the same amount. Actually, we have less points now with Poch than we did with Tuchel, and that attack that was so maligned. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, the new ownership came in and they decided, for whatever reason, for whatever rhyme, that they were going to gut the squad of the previous core because, rightfully so, we were mediocre. A lot of those players did have to go. And they wanted to go and try a new approach, which is what I don't agree with, which is the youth project, the kindergarten. So we put a huge amount of money into this infrastructure to support a spine of youngsters, essentially. So if we're going based on the project, right, the solution is to suffer. It is to keep Poch. It's to suffer this year, barring he doesn't do what Potter did at the end of last year, which was throw everything out the window. And Poch is starting to do that now, and I'm going to get to Poch at the end. But the problem with Potter was he threw all his ideals out, like someone else said prior. Towards like January, he just started saying, fuck it. I'm going to do whatever I can to get results, and he wasn't getting results. So he deserved to get sacked. Poch. My issue with Poch was, did anybody go to the preseason games live? I was at most of them. I'm just curious. Did it? Yeah.
Yeah, I was at 2 of them.
Tell me I'm not on crack. Tell me we were playing fluid football. Tell me we were playing completely
100%.
Total. There was a style of play. So my issue with Poch, and that's where I'm about to drill down right now, is he is throwing his ideals out the window like Potter. Which means when I said in the summer, Poch is a yes man, and everybody told me, Poch is not a yes man. Poch has a backbone. It was Spurs that wasn't supporting him. They didn't back him, and that's why he didn't get further. That's why he didn't win that Champions League against Liverpool. Yada, 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 yada. Well, what are we seeing now? We got the boys gave everything 2.0. If this was the old regime, he would be sacked. Like, that's why I said I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. If this was the old empire, if this was the Roman Empire, he would have been sacked. He actually would have been sacked a month ago. So if we're going to talk about what's the solution, it depends. What are you asking? The solution to what? Getting higher up in the table? Actually competing again? What are we asking here?
Yeah, I mean, you have a really good point, which is why, like, listen, regardless of results going forward, even if Nkunku comes back and we play well, I I just don't think that I feel like Poch is out of his depth with this team. I don't think he is technically as good as people think he is. I don't think other than maybe developing some of these players, I don't think he's going to be the solution to consistently keep us in top four, to win us trophies and so on and so forth. I just don't think he can garner respect in this locker room and instill a mentality for us to be animals in the Premier
You're
League.
spitting, my brother. You're spitting.
Can I hit Kyle's point?
But real quick, I do want to go on off of what Callie said as well, and I hate I just want to preface this that I think it is pathetic that this has to be what I think is the solution or what I think is the problem, and I also think this is why we see one style of football in preseason versus now. I genuinely think with Carney and Nkunku being out, I think that was the key for Poch to play that fluid football that he wanted to play. And that's pathetic. That one or two players, all of a sudden, your tactic, your squad doesn't work anymore. I think that's pathetic on Poch.
That's every
you should be able to still develop some style of football. You should be able to still have some tactics or some backup plan. And the fact that one player
were starters.
Nkunku was definitely a starter, and when Nkunku wasn't playing, Carney was starting.
Carney would have been a backup if Nkunku was.
Poch, it should be a backup, but according to Poch, Carney's actually a starter.
Yeah, and
if people didn't deep that's what I'm trying to say. People don't understand.
Yeah, I was. This is what because this is something I don't know if Kyle's seen this before. When I said when Carney obviously got injured and everything changed. I was like, if Carney Chukwuemeka is breaking your tactic then you have failed as a manager. You failed your primary job. So we already knew that already.
Guys.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised that you said that Pochettino doesn't have a backbone, because I would think this is the best time to have a backbone because they're giving you free reign to play any style of football that you want. How are you regressing with that style of football? I don't understand. That's what's confusing.
I don't understand either. But
this is him.
Continuing on to my point, and then Prime, you did want to ask me something. And then Arrow King, I want to hear what you have to say as well. But going off of this as well. Listen, I know people are gonna say oh, Gallagher's been great this season. He's undroppable, all this and that. The thing is though, let's be honest here. If Nkunku and Carney didn't get hurt, Gallagher probably would have eventually been phased out of this team. Just like Choa was eventually dropped from that left wing and left back because he wasn't good enough. So that being said, I'm not saying that Gallagher hasn't improved this season. Even in the preseason, I was saying I understand why he plays in this team. And people laughed at me, but regardless, I ended up being right. And you can see why he's playing in this team, because he's good at tackling. He's good at pressing. He's doing what Mount did for Tuchel.
He's Mason Mount 2.0.
It's much better than Mason Mount, in my opinion. But the thing with him is, though, you don't want that from a number 10. You want a number 10 to be able to give you that, but that's not his whole game. You want a number 10 to be well-rounded. He can dispossess high in the enemy's pitch. Wow, it's war. It is war, actually. We're in the trenches. So you want a number 10 that can dispossess, turn around, start a counter, but you also want a number 10 that can score you goals. You want a number 10 that can give you assists. You want a number 10 that can be creative. You want a number 10 that can kick a proper corner, on and so forth.
Gallagher has our most chances created, by the way.
And that's where Mount used to do certain things, and
exactly
Gallagher doesn't invest for us.
The most chances created and the most assists.
But imagine, Jason, if it was actually a proper number 10. And not Gallagher.
That's who Nkunku's supposed to be, the Messiah, the Lord, the Savior.
I don't think Nkunku is the end all be all. I don't think Nkunku is the end all be all because we still have problems in this team. You're not wrong. I don't think Nkunku is the end all be all because there's still problems in this team, especially defensively. But I can see why that fluidity is no longer there, because when you're missing someone,
I'm borrowing that, by the way. Nkunku Christ.
When you're missing that number 10 that can give you those progressive passes, really connect 1-2 with Enzo, really run up the pitch with Jackson, like we saw in the preseason, 1-2 counter-attacking football. And Nkunku does that for you. Gallagher.
And Carney as well. Carney does it as well.
Carney does it as well.
Look,
so I get it, but it's a sad excuse.
By the way,
before
do you know what it
guys. Before you go, guys, Prime, you did want to ask me something, and then Air King, I know you've been patient, so I do want to get to you as well.
Yeah.
Prime, if you're there, Prime. Yeah. What did you want to ask me, Prime? You were trying to talk to me about something regarding Nkunku and Carney.
No, yeah, something of I would understand if our system hinged on Nkunku and Carney doing well,
Sure.
but then we bought Cole Palmer, and you also had options to buy other players before the window ended, and you rejected it. So this is the hand that you agreed with. It's not that you were forced this. You agreed.
I mean,
with what the
but
squad
Poch
is.
didn't expect Carney to get like a knee injury the way he's gotten a knee injury right now.
No, he didn't.
You know, there's some,
but then
there's some things you can't count for.
No, but we had time at the end of the window. We got in Cole Palmer. We had opportunity to get other players. You said no.
Mhm.
You agreed to the squad, so you can't complain.
That's the yes man I'm talking about. Thank you, Prime.
Can I just add to that as well?
Hold on, Oliver. Oliver. Pep has KDB injured, by the way. No one's saying that's the reason why they're not top of the league. Pep has KDB injured. You deal with what you have.
I know. That's why I'm not giving excuses to Poch. I think it's pathetic. That's why I said it. I emphasized in the beginning. I prefaced. I think it's pathetic that this is the reason it's not working. But I think the reason it's not working and not being fluid as we saw in preseason is because he's missing a proper number or attacking number 10 in Carney and Nkunku. What did you want to add, Oliver? And then I want to go to Arrow King, so because he's been patient.
I just wanted to add not only about Cole Palmer joining the club late in the window, but Poch also played Maatsen at number 10 at times in preseason to good effect. We saw him get a few assists actually in preseason, and like I said earlier, preseason isn't like something you take as complete gospel, but at least give it a go. But no, you're telling my man to put on his bib again when we concede another goal to Man United. Like what are we actually doing here?
Please don't bring up that Man United performance. Go ahead, Arab King.
Arab King, my man.
Hey,
Thank you for being so patient. Tell us your thoughts, man.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Tragic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
All right, cool.
We can.
The main thing for me, I think, with Chelsea nowadays is it's a two-pronged thing. A lot of you have said it with Poch, and I think if you look at our history, many of our managers that are successful have conviction and understand what they want from the club. You look at Mourinho, look at Ancelotti, you look at Conte. They are real men in terms of what they want to do on the pitch, how they want their players to set up, how they want to play the ball. And I think Poch has, in many games, changed it and changed not only the defense multiple times, because we haven't had a consistent back four, we haven't had a consistent centre-back partnership, and I think we need to be phasing out Thiago Silva as well, because he's not going to be here next season. He's reaching about 40. And the other things is, there should never be an excuse of, if these two players are out of the squad, then I can't play the same way. You have to continue to play the same way and putting in other players in that position until it works. But now he's going away from that. He's playing a different style. You can see against Man United, we had no conviction in the press. We barely had any of the ball. We got dominated pillar to post and should have been slapped 5-6-7-1. And I wanted that to happen because sometimes you need a result like that to kickstart your season, because it seems like these players don't understand what club they're at. And for me, it comes down to a lack of leadership from Poch. It comes from a lack of leadership within the actual team. I think we're missing a midfielder of not like Jorginho, but with just a bit more fluidity in terms of movement that's been there, done that in midfield to coach Enzo and Caicedo in these type of moments. And then in our front line, I think we're missing another creative winger. I think we need someone on the left that can create. And I just think we need a bagsman in the number 9 as well.
We need 2 bagsmen, not 1, 2.
Not
2 gunmen. Guaranteed 10 plus goals a season, minimum. Like,
I was thinking about that lineup.
From Sterling, though. So you need a 9 as well.
I don't know, man.
If played correctly.
I think Sterling, man, maybe you guys know my thoughts on Sterling. Sterling's like a D&D dice for me, bro. I'm not sure what I'm getting of the brother.
Dice.
Oh, wait. Let's not do this. Let's not have a Sterling talk. It's gonna go too long.
No. I'm just saying, though, with him, I feel like you can get an improvement on him, though. You can get an improvement on him, maybe. But it'll be obviously quite costly, of course.
Well, I did want to.
No. I'm gonna be very.
Go ahead.
I'll go.
No, go ahead, bro. We're waiting for you.
Oh, you're lagging.
There's a little bit latency between me and you, Callie.
No, he's lagging right now.
Good.
No.
It's you. We're good.
Oh, that's why. Okay, all right, back. I was just saying really quick. Essentially, the thing with Sterling is, to keep it very brief, he needs a striker, man. He needs a primary striker, a primary gunman in front of him, and I guarantee you Sterling's numbers go up. It's that simple. I hate it's like that, but it's been proven over time at Man City. That's where his highest numbers come from.
What I wanted to add, and before you go on, because I'm sure you want to respond to that, but what I wanted to say, going back to what I was saying about when this team is fit, looking at this lineup and seeing the experience in it, like it's not as youth-filled of a lineup as people think it is, and there is quite a bit of experience. At leadership, I don't know, but I started thinking like, you know what? Now I kind of see why there are some links saying that we are still in for Olise. Like if we were to get an Olise and a striker, whether it be Tony or Nkunku, or not Nkunku, I'm sorry, Tony or Oshime, it could be an attacking three of Sterling, Oshime, Olise, and you could even have Nkunku in the number 10. And you could say that's pretty experienced attack, I would say. But like, I mean, I don't know your thoughts on that, Ahmed. I'm sure you want to, also rebuttal a bit on that Sterling point.
No. I think that's fair from a statistical standpoint. I can understand that, but I think for me more so, I just think it's more. I think the striker thing isn't as a big of an issue right now, I would argue, than the creativity aspect. I think we need to be able to be more.
Hey, whoa!
I did see a stat, but go ahead.
For me, I know that obviously I saw the stat today. I think it was around about we've missed 32 big chances in general. That's not including the striker, and that's including wingers or anyone else. That's included, so it's not just him. But the thing for me, we need to have a constant flow of creativity, and then I can at least then say we're creating a lot of chances. We don't need to just rely on Jackson to score those chances then, because we're creating a constant flow. We then have our wingers who can score those goals. We can at least what's the word, spread it out between the actual attack.
I get that, but I feel like you are taking a little bit of responsibility off Jackson.
I'm saying in the short term though. For me, I said in short term. For me, when I say that,
but even
it's a short-term solution, because I don't think you can get the guys that you're looking for in January. You're probably looking at getting them in the summer. So as such, for me, how do you solve that?
I don't even want us to get anyone in January based on how the recruitment has been failing, because I think Kafkas was acting like
I understand. I can understand that, but I'm saying, let's say if they are going to bring in one guy in January, I'm saying bring in a creative guy. That way, at least we can. At least we're overloading with the amount of creativity. We're creating so many chances that we can't miss every single one of them. You know what I'm saying? To at least one or two of those will go in. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a striker that has to put them in. Even if he isn't able to put them in, you'll still have a midfielder or a winger that you at least have that will be able to put the ball into.
Real quick, I do want to respond to this, and then go ahead. Whoever wants to say something. Listen, you can say this all you want, but people said the same exact thing about Enzo. People said the same exact thing about Caicedo. For some reason, when it comes to getting these players, there's something attractive about this project. There's something attractive
Lavia too.
Lavia as well. Like, so you could say what you want about why would this player sign for us. Listen, there's actual physical proof that you have John Obi Mikel
on lower contracts, by the way.
It's still Chelsea anyways at the end of the day.
It's still Chelsea, but the name holds a lot of weight. So I mean that's just my 2 cents on that.
No, I just don't like how I
was gonna say we've created the third most big chances. That's behind Newcastle and Liverpool.
It's not sustained though. That's the problem. It's not sustained. It's very, very, very streaky.
Well, because we're a counter-attacking team. That's the reason why.
We'll have 10 minutes where we create like. We'll have 10 minutes where we create like 12 chances, and then we'll do nothing for the rest of the game. Like that's not sustainable.
That's down to the manager though, and the inexperience in the team.
But at the same time though, like I know Ahmed said, like we're not seeing this happening in January, which I agree. I don't think these strikers are going to come in January. But assuming that the board decide to stick with Poch, assuming that Poch seems to keep us afloat by some way or how, whatever.
Miracle of God.
Miracle, whatever. Miracle of Miracle of Nkunkun Christ and Saint Gallagher. So the thing is, though, like next season, if we continue with this team, we're still gonna have the same issues where we're creating chances and no one's,
we solved that in the
exploiting
summer,
them.
bro. But again, that's what
I don't think we solved it in the summer. Jackson's
No,
not
we
the
solved that
solution.
in that
We saved
summer.
it.
In that summer, we solve it. But for now, we can't solve it. For now.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? to you?
Yeah.
For now, we can't solve the striker situation, in my opinion.
I agree.
Wait. We want to be serious about Poch. Let's be serious about Poch. It's very simple. Poch, you sit at 10th place. Big old Chelsea Football Club. All this money spent, all these things that are going on. You sit 10th place right now, brother. With injuries, with the context, with everything, with the ownership mucking up, all of it. All right. Here's how it was about to go down. It's very simple. This is disgraceful, I'm saying this, right? But it's the reality. Poch, if you cannot get 8th place with this Chelsea team, I need you to walk at the end of this season. Anyone that disagrees with this, you're out of your mind.
You're still giving him the rest of the season.
It needs to be sacked,
bro.
It needs to be sacked.
No, listen. Because a lot of people are Poch out now, and I'm still trying to figure out if Prime's Poch out. He's been a little quiet about it. But
No.
essentially,
I'm Poch get deported, bro. I didn't want him in the first place.
Oh, you're gone? Hey, okay. Do you not? Yeah.
I've never been on Poch's side. I've never been on his side.
I know you haven't been, Prime, but I thought you were like, I'm gonna let it happen for. Remember, we talked. You said you were gonna let it happen for the development, and then we would get a better manager, and that's when we would go for the push.
Cali. But we're not developing.
Yeah.
We're not developing.
I don't think anyone thought it would be this bad. I wanted to comment on the thing that Marshall and I forgot the guy's name. Is it Arab King? Talked about when you spoke about mentality. I think if you look at the mentality of Poch, his first thing is just not losing. So when I look at Gallagher, I don't think that Poch wants to drop Gallagher for Nkunku or anyone. I think the person he's going to be more likely to drop is Jackson. And after the Man United match, I think that's probably gonna scare him even more into feeling like he can't drop Gallagher. The only way, I think like Marshall said, the only way he would have dropped Gallagher is if Carney was still fit and playing like he was playing, and then Caicedo came and it was like, yeah, you have no choice, you have to drop Gallagher now. Because Gallagher's now established, I don't think he's getting dropped for anyone. Like when Lavia comes back, I don't think he's getting dropped either. Like I think it's gonna have to be Gallagher getting injured for him to drop him.
But by the way, when we did have Carney, we played a 3 at the back and with 2 10s, and the 2 10s were Carney and who was it? Sorry, what's that? It was
guys. The 3 and the 4 at the back is a myth. I'm gonna talk about that later. Like how people are talking about 4 CBs, 3 CBs. I'm telling you, it's a myth. It's a stupid hybrid system that Poch is using, depending on when he feels if the team can handle pressure or not.
Thing is, he doesn't even use it anymore because now, at that time, we saw Colwell actually playing a bit like a left-sided on a back 3.
Why is he at left back?
Interpret it differently. Did you not catch that?
Yeah, I didn't catch that part. Sorry, I had to fix your bike.
No, I was just saying, like, it's not even like Poch is doing that hybrid anymore, because you could argue maybe in the Liverpool game and early in the season that Colwell was playing a lot more like a left-sided centre-back in a back 3, and it actually looked a bit like that, where he was a lot deeper. Whereas nowadays we see him just overlapping on the left wing, and it makes no sense because he just doesn't have any of the attributes to do that. Passing doesn't equal crossing.
I think he's still doing the LCB thing, because if you look at how much Cole gets forward, it's not actually that much. He doesn't really go forward that much when he's at left back. He goes forward like every now and then. There's also a problem with the system defensively, because I was looking at the stats and because right now it looks like Caicedo can't make a tackle to save his life. I was looking at the stats like last season. Like Caicedo was second for tackles in a team that has that plays a possession style. and has the ball most of the time. Like, why? Has anyone noticed that he can't like actually like make a tackle anymore?
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Hold on,
He's going through a
wait.
bad patch of form.
Not even bad patch of form. You just said it about Caicedo, but not even just Caicedo. When you see 9 other players looking like absolute dross, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, the thing with like using the tackle stat is, I think it's very flawed. Like, I know you mentioned that he made this many tackles in De Zerbi's possession system, but look at some of the best DMs in the world, and arguably of all time. Look at like Busquets, look at Rodri, how and players of that ilk. How many tackles did they make per game?
To be honest, I'll be honest. I don't really see him as a DM. I don't really see him as a DM.
He's not a DM.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
This is a conversation for another day.
As a DM. I don't really see him as a DM.
The reason why he made that many tackles was because he was playing as an 8 in a Brighton possession system where he had another midfielder alongside of him and another midfielder in the pivot. That was why. He wasn't the person in the pivot, though. He was the one that was allowed to be the interceptor in a Conte-like role. And people keep getting this confused that he's this lone DM that's just supposed to sit and intercept and sweep. No, he's meant for building up play. Like, people really get Caicedo confused, and then they wonder why he's playing like absolute poo in these tactics. It's the tactics.
I don't know that I necessarily agree, because like if you watched a lot of Brighton last season, him and Gross they were the two in the pivot, if I'm right.
I actually think it was Gross and the other midfielder. But
it was Gross and Caicedo were playing together last season, right?
Yeah. And
McAllister was the 10. Though Gross and Caicedo would stay very, very, very close together at all times. So I don't think there's necessarily this one goes forward, the other sits. I don't think that was the case with those two at all. That's my interpretation.
I think I actually think it was kind of like that at the start, but I think towards the end he was just playing as like they were like what you said, like deep together in that kind of position.
So there, just actually, Dave, say what you want to say. Finish up with your point, and then I gotta.
I was just saying that. I think it's just. I think there is a clear problem with the system defensively. Like, it's just because when you see people like Caicedo like struggling to even make tackles, like it's mental.
So big up to the panel. We said some inappropriate things and forced Alexis to come on the panel to, set things straight. So big up, Alexis. How you doing, bro?
Yo, what you lot saying? How are you?
Doing
tragic.
I'm alive.
Well, right, man.
You're not
put it this way, you lot triggered me. I'm not gonna lie to you. You lot triggered me today. I was listening, I was enjoying it, and then Poch hates
Alexis, you're spot on, but too many agenda merchants, bro. And that's why I'm here to
agenda merchants.
Alexis, don't listen to him. What do you say?
I don't think it's an agenda merchant. Like, I think that we're all allowed an opinion, and we all should have one, innit? And that's what I like about your platform. Everyone's got different views. So, but for me, my argument here is, you gave Potter 32 games, and then they bottled the decision, because we're going to call it bottled, by sacking him and bringing in an interim. So evidently they didn't have a plan. So you waste the rest of that season. The responsible thing, as owners of the club, not as fans, right? Because we're emotional and we have a certain way of thinking business should be done. Chelsea should be winning trophies. They're different to us. They should have kept Potter to the end, and at the end of the season said, look, you finished this place, we're going to replace you. It wasn't good enough. With Poch, you can't give him 18 games to change everything, because what are you going to do now? Get another interim, waste another season? And what logical manager is going to look at them and go, okay, so your first guy you gave 32 games. Your second guy that you said was different, you gave 18 games. So what, you're going to give me 9 games or 11 games? That's the first reason you don't sack him. Secondly, the injuries are unprecedented, like what we've had. We're hearing Newcastle's injuries are bad. Ours are even worse. Like, we've had them consistent. And the only thing saving us from putting up a horrible lineup is that we're so deep, right? Look at the bench. the reason why like Caicedo and Enzo played in a, if you can call it a double pivot, it was a 4-3-3. You guys were spot on about that. It wasn't. He basically played a like single pivot by himself. Was because we had no one on the bench. Like Ogochokwu's out, Gallagher's suspended, Lavia's not there, Carney's not there. Like we genuinely don't have anyone else to use apart from kids. Like yes, Poch tactically can do a lot better, and he's still learning with this team. And I think this team, you sign inexperienced players, you're going to get inexperienced performances. The issue was the recruitment. And you can't fix it now. So we just kind of have to firm it until January and then get some experienced heads in. If we don't, we're just going to continue the way we have been the whole season.
So
you know, yeah.
Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead. Finish your point.
No, I'm done, bros. Sorry for
that. No, you're good, man. We have all the time in the world, man. And
not a rant.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, this is what I'm Poch out. But the thing with Poch is that I know he's going to get to the end of the season. And to be honest, to be completely transparent, and for those of you who have been watching since the summer and since last season, you guys already kind of knew I never fully had faith in Poch. So I just kind of said, all right, let me give him a shot. Let's see what happens, and we'll go from there. And we can go into why I'm Poch out and all that stuff, but I understand he's going to get to the end of the season because it'll look so bad on the ownership. What I said earlier, though, was what if the ownership decide to take a different approach on this, and rather than sack Poch by the end of December, which I think is unlikely, what if they decide to sack the board, Win Stanley and Lawrence Stewart? Which, if you look at Lawrence Stewart's loans and all the stuff that he's done, they haven't been good. Outside of Angelo, it's been pretty peak. And then the recruitment, which was supposed to be a team that was built to help Poch, doesn't seem like it's been helping him, considering he says he wants more experience and all this and that. He's not helping himself either. But what do you think about the possibility of maybe the approach this time, instead of sacking the managers, sacking the recruitment, and then going to January and seeing if the new recruitment could help Poch?
Yeah, that would be a good approach because you'd be employing the right football people in for Poch, you know what I mean? And not these jellyfish yes men like them.
But the thing is, what I'm going to say is we're saying it's not the right football people. Did they meet the KPIs that were set for them? Like, do you remember when the window closed, Win Stanley and Lawrence Stewart came out and had this big interview on Chelsea TV where the quotes were there? We didn't see the interview, but the quotes were there. They were bragging about how they got the wage bill down and how they're doing all this stuff and building for the future. This is what the ownership group wants. Like, you know what? I think, sadly, we've lost the club that a lot of us grew up on. Like, I'm 27 years old, right? So for me, I grew up, my football memories are Roman. Like, I was 6-7 years old when Roman came in. So my football, like, expectations were molded by that individual. This is a different ownership group. And sadly, they might not reciprocate what we want. So we can moan and we can be upset, but that's not going to change anything. Like, and sacking Poch now is not going to happen because they fully believe in him. And he's given them reasons to believe in him. Like, if you look at it, like the Man City game, the Arsenal game, the Spurs game, the Brighton game where we milked the win out. Like, that's all evidence for them. Oh yeah, this is the right guy, because they look at the underlying stats and they look at the excuses such as we have injuries. Do you understand what I mean? Like, this is why I think there's no point sacking him. He's not the problem. The owners are the problem, and we're stuck.
He's the problem, bro. And you guys are bullying my boy Johnny, and he's been saying it for the whole time.
Why are you guys not saying both are the problem? That's my issue. It's not just one.
That's where I'm at. I don't trust either.
It's both.
Well,
no one wants to say it. That's why I'm saying everyone's picking. You're talking about agenda merchants, but the agenda merchant is backing Poch. Both are the problem.
No, but I don't think.
It's not so polar.
But my opinion is, it's very simple. Poch is not going to be here when we win trophies. Poch will get sacked. Like, I'm convinced of that more than you believe. Like, Poch is not good enough. Like, I promise you right now. Like, I'll put everything down there. Poch is not capable enough to lead us to where we want to go. He's just here to do the babysitting job whilst these kids grow up. And he's going to take all the flack and not reap any of the rewards. But the problem is if you get the next guy in to do that, you're just delaying the process. Poch has got a lot of things wrong, but he's got a lot of things right with the cards he was dealt. The players have got a lot wrong. They've got a lot right. It's like it's what you said, right? We have to spread the blame, but I think the biggest pie goes to the ownership.
Oh, agreed. The recruitment staff, especially because they hired them.
Exactly.
The biggest blame. Oh, sorry, who's talking?
Sorry, Dave, you're good.
Yeah, the biggest. I mean, yeah, the biggest blame goes to the ownership. That's clear. But the ownership are going to be here for years. We can't do anything about them. We have to basically it's like a wife. You know, you might start to have issues with her, but end of the day, she's going to be there for a long time until you decide that it's time to go. So the problem is they're going to be here. We cannot do anything about them right now. So what we can do something about is Poch. I think the best point you made was that the next manager, how is he going to perceive the sacking of Poch? I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest issue that we would have if we sacked him.
Yeah,
like,
the next manager
is how is Hansi Flick going to look at? Oh wow, you've sacked about 3 or 4 managers already. Yeah. How is how's anyone going to take it? And it will go either 2 ways. Either the manager will say, you know what, I believe in myself. I believe I can turn this around. Or the manager's going to say, I'm not willing to put myself in the crosshairs and take the flak for the sinking ship. So, that's the issue. That's the issue. But if I had my way personally, I would sack him. I would get rid of him.
If I had my way, I would have never hired him. Like
exactly.
This is
that's on the ownership as well.
Yeah, you don't hire him. You don't hire a Spursy manager. You know what I mean?
But the problem is here, right? What you said about perception. Under Roman and like Darko on Twitter said it to me perfectly. He was like, "Oh, we need to be the way people want the Real Madrid job under Perez. We need to be like that. We're not Madrid and we're not Chelsea under Roman. There is no given right when a manager comes in expects to win. This job is not designed for winning at the moment. Like this squad isn't good enough. So we're going to be looking at like B tier, C tier managers. We're not going to be looking at the top class managers because they're not good enough. They're not going to, this job isn't attractive. Enzo at 22, Caicedo at 22 is not attractive enough to lure a top class manager. There's no Eden Hazard. There's no John Terry. There's no Frank Lampard. This team, like, I think that I don't know about you guys, but I think I overrated, and I'm going to be honest about it, how ready Enzo and Caicedo were and how ready Levi Colwell is and how good Reece James is. Like, I think there's been a real kumbaya moment for me. Like, oh shit, we're actually not good.
It's a humbler, man.
Yeah, it is a humbler. Maybe I'm being reactionary now, like after a bad result.
I think the whole fan base.
It's not a bad result. It's not a bad result, bro.
An embarrassing one, to be honest. I think it was a very eye-opening one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word.
I just wait. Can I drop this fact really quick? I need people to understand this, and this is going to be the most damning thing, and I'm embarrassed to even say this about my club. If Everton didn't get docked 10 points, they would be above us. I repeat, if Everton didn't get hit for 10 points, they would statistically be above us in the league. Sack everyone. I don't care. Sack everyone. Sack the club. Sack the owner. It's time.
What's worrying, gents, right? When we look at our default lineup this year, so excluding the injuries, like the players that have played, it is a mid-table team. Like Sanchez,
it is
bottom half keeper. Malo Gusto and Reece James shared the game time. It's been primarily Gusto. Yeah, Gusto's a good developmental kid, top 10 at best. Thiago Silva, top 4 player. We can still argue that. His partner this year, Disasi, don't get me started. I'm telling you right now, whoever approved that 45 million fee should be sacked.
Alexis doesn't like the sassy.
I don't see it. I don't see it in any way. The left back, Levi Colwell, top 10 player. He started 20 games for Brighton last year. 20, like not 30, 20. Right.
Mm.
Then you look at the midfield, Enzo and Caicedo, you can argue top 4 players, right? And then you get into the front four. Conor Gallagher, top 10. He's a Palace player, if I've ever seen one. Raheem Sterling, top 4. Mudryk, bottom half. He's not like chasing his first touch. Like I don't see any of the Timberlands on him that everyone put on Lukaku. Jesus. Yeah, and then Nicholas Jackson.
He's spitting though. And then Nicholas Jackson, like, can anyone tell me he's better than Solanke? Like, is he really better than Solanke? And Solanke's placed in the relegation battle in team. He's not. Like, and then we expect results, man. You guys, I've ruined my mood at 1 a.m. watching basketball. Yeah, you understand. That's my issue. Because my issue isn't even like, my thing about it is, the sport is supposed to bring enjoyment, right? Like people forget the bare basics of why you even watch this, why you support a club. And it's to bring you enjoyment. It's to bring you like a bit of respite away from reality and the world and shit. But it's like when you go to sleep and realize like my nightmares are better than my reality. Like I wake up and Chelsea are worse than I think they're going to play. Like I really thought we were going to beat United. And that's why I'm dead inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put it all on the, like Newcastle, I expected to get beat. I'm not lying to you, gentlemen. I expected to get beat by City, and I expected us to draw with Arsenal, and I expected us to beat Spurs. Those were expectations. I expected us to 3-1 United, and we should have lost like 6-1, 7-1.
You know what's mad though? We could have won that game as well.
Yeah. And
so
crazy. You want me to be real with you? If that was and I'm not saying it, and people are going to think I'm running agendas, I'm not. That was a Tuchel team, we would have drawn that game. And that's the scary thing about that. Because we gutted all the experience out of the team. It's gone. So it's like, hey, man. Realistically, it's just going to be, like I said last year, it's going to be a long season, gents. We've already been a year straight in 10th place.
But you know what, though, on a positive standpoint, the running coming up now is a very nice one. As in, we're playing teams that are primarily 13th and lower. So, on some miraculous level, I don't believe it myself, but I'm gonna try to pull something. On some miraculous level, we get 4 or 5 wins, 1 draw or 2 draws, right?
In a row?
We could end no, because the next 6 games, the next 6 games are Everton, Sheffield. We've got Luton, Palace, Fulham, and there's one more like bottom half team.
I got you.
No, that's a good run.
I feel like those are the worst. I feel like those are the worst teams for us to face, though.
No, but
it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Because if you look at it, Man United are like the what's the word? They're like the what do you call it when there's like when there's one like error from the trend.
The anomaly, like
exactly. They're the anomaly. Usually we do well against big teams. It's the small teams where we struggle. So this is what I am looking at those matches, thinking to myself, when these teams come to Stamford Bridge or we go to their home and they're playing a low block, are we gonna be able to break these teams down? So I'm not confident. I'm not confident of those matches. I'm not confident at all.
If we can't beat them, sack
it's sackable.
You have to.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm glad we agree. If in that run, if you can't pick up 3 out of 6 wins, it's sackable. And people think it's because I'm being like. The reality is the table, guys, the fucking table. If we sit 13th, worse than Potter, we are a disgrace. We have to have shame. We have to, even if it's on the owners, and then the owners have to come out in front of the world and say we fucked up, and we're gonna do something to fix it because it's just what's going on.
They will though, because you need to remember who owns us, right? It's not Bowley that owns us; it's an investment fund, and that means Bowley answers to them
because they want that money.
And they want their money. Chelsea not being respectable is not lucrative for them.
But the thing is, though, like going on that point, Alexis, like, yes, there's an ownership group that wants to get a return on their investment. But these guys also understand that sometimes in order to get a return on investment, it does take time. And these owners could be very patient. Some of these people that, gained a lot of money in the stock market here in the United States, they bought Apple when it was cheap as hell. And then 20 years later, they became the millionaires. So I think these guys are willing to wait. They might run out Poch's contract. And the thing that I wanted to add on to what Alexis was saying, like with the results coming up, listen, I don't know what to expect with this team, to be honest. I said this over and over again. I can't iterate it enough. We could end up getting a result against a low block team. Like, I'm not even convinced at this point that our weakness is a low block team, because I'm not convinced what there is to have a weakness about. We have weaknesses everywhere. Like, I don't know what our strengths are.
But what low block teams have we beaten?
Well, I mean, I understand.
How many low block teams have we played?
But I understand you can look at the history, but at the same time, even the history doesn't match up with how we're supposed to be going forward. So it's just like it's such an anomaly. This team is an anomaly when it comes to results as well. Like, I just don't know where results are going to come from, but they come. Like, I literally said we're going to lose against City, and then we managed to score and get a point off of City. We almost beat Arsenal. Like, again, there's anomalies here, and I keep saying these things, but there's like times where like it just works, and sometimes when it doesn't. So there's just inconsistencies, right? And I think too, another factor to consider is you have an Nkunku coming back, which I'm not saying Nkunku is the answer, but an Nkunku in the number 10 position maybe is what cracks low blocks. I don't know. I'm just saying that's another factor to throw in and to maybe take into consideration when you look at the fixtures going forward.
Marshall, but you just said something that's really annoying me with Poch.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a number 10, bro. Like this, when he played Palmer in the number 10, I didn't understand. I got cooked on Twitter because I said I would have played Maatsen in the midfield 3, or like as in just have him really compact at Man United, because I was like, we've got the pace, or drop Mudryk and play Palmer on the right hand side and Sterling on the left. And this is what we need to do. Like, realistically, we need to make sure we're compact and we nick games. We're not good enough to be blowing teams out with Nicholas Jackson, bro. Action man Jackson is not going to work, man. Like, he misses his chances.
I don't know if an Nkunku player is gonna result in us winning matches, but I know one thing for sure: if Nkunku has the chance, if he's having the chances that Jackson is having, he's scoring like about most of those chances.
No, guys, don't be so far in the trenches that like you also delude yourself. Nkunku would improve us. It gives us more points. It gives us more wins. The problem is, it's just like he's not going to be the like people are treating him like he's fucking Messi or prime Ronaldo. Like he's going to walk in and we're going to go to second. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? I just want to set expectations. Like, Nkunku makes us worse than, like, we're not going to be in 10th to 12th. We might be to 8th to 6th, but that's not good enough, obviously. So
this is where I go back with why I'm Poch out, right? Even if we get these players who are quality players, I just don't think Poch is going to be the guy to set them up to win. I just don't think Poch is going to be the guy.
Why? Like,
you gotta give a why though.
Perfect example. The United one was the one that really opened my eyes. So the
first United thing one hurt people.
The United one fucking scarred me. I have PTSD. And listen, Alexis, you understand the era of Chelsea where I come from, where United and Chelsea was my rivalry growing up.
The beef.
A chance. Like, Arsenal was just a banter club. Was becoming a banter club then. Spurs, who cares? United was the real match, the match that everyone watched all over the world. That was the match to watch. So there's a lot of personal, weight on this for me. So that aside, I'm looking at the team. You take out Cucurella, who is a left back, and insist on keeping Colwell at left back. Red flag.
And then put Cucurella right back.
What are you doing? You put Cucurella right back. You could have. You wanted Reece James to come on. You could have taken Colwell, shifted Cucurella to left back. Look, I'm not even a manager, and I know this. And that's what it would have done.
No, but the thing is, I would have done the same thing. I don't rate Cucurella defensively. Yeah. I don't think he's good defensively.
He would have been he's not supposed to be. That's what I'm saying. putting fucking square pegs in round holes. Why?
Who's he meant to play right back then? Because James wasn't fit, and we saw when he came on. James wasn't fit. We saw when
Sarsi played the Sarsi right back.
Oh my god! You saw what Matoma was doing to him. You don't think?
No, listen, guys.
I was one moment in the match.
Let me just land my point real quick because this is what I mean. Like, I just don't think Poch is setting us up to succeed. And the other thing that pissed me the fuck off about that game is that I think all of us saw that there were 5 men pressing us from playing from the back. It was very obvious what United were trying to do. They wanted to disorganize us. They wanted to take us apart. They didn't want to let us get clean passes. And especially with Sanchez gave the ball away so much, and that's because of United's press.
Oh Lord!
Like, I understand Sanchez isn't good at ball distributed, but it's also part of also a lot of it has to do with the tactic that United used about pressing us, 5 men. So if you understand you can't play the ball out the back because of what United are doing, and you're playing like when we did have opportunities, most of those opportunities were from long balls to get a counterattack, essentially one-on-one, whether it be Jackson, Sterling, or Mudryk. If you understand that you're being pressed so high, why, Poch, in the second half did you continue to persist with this tactic when it's not working? It's clearly not working. And maybe he didn't change it up. And the other argument would be maybe the players weren't responsive to him. So that brings me back again to like, well, what happened at PSG? Players didn't respect him. They probably didn't, respect his decisions. They didn't care for him. Who the hell are you, Poch? What have you won? What is your history? And his best accolade was.
I have to stop you right there. I have to stop you right there.
That's PSG.
Yeah,
though, like.
That's Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. Who the fuck are you lot to be questioning Poch? Like, on a level, what have any of them done in football to have the ability to
Tuchel
question
got
the
a tune
manager?
out of them, though.
Who did Tuchel get a tune out of? None of them were here, bro.
Wait. This is a completely new squad.
PSG to go far.
Yeah, he did.
No. But this is separate. This is separate.
Tuchel's a better manager.
Hold on.
I think everyone established. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows.
But my point in saying that is that Pochettino going into that locker room, he didn't get those players to really respond to him. He didn't get those players to really respect him. They just went up. They just went into that pitch and they just played their own football. They said, "Fuck Poch."
Wait.
I don't think that's his nature either. I don't think.
No, guys, hold on. Let me say this because it's important. Poch's style of managing, he's that damn, and I don't even agree with it. I'm the Mourinho style, okay? So if you want to know what I favor the sit that mofo on the bench and tell him you didn't play good. However, Poch is the guy to put his arm around the player and be all buddy and try to make them feel, emotionally and mentally invested and that they have a relationship so that they play better. He did it at Spurs. These are facts. So I can tell. Wait.
My point, Callie, though, just real quick, to sum this up, put a bow on it, right? My point is that even at Spurs, after he lost that Champions League final, it all went downhill.
Marshall, he didn't spend money in 18 months. He had 3 transfer windows with 0 spend. What do you
wait. Don't crash on Marshall. Both things are true, man. Yeah, both things are true.
Here's the thing. But, okay, my point in saying is that after seeing those 2, stints that he had at Spurs and at PSG, where it seemed like these players stopped responding to him, stopped respecting him. He didn't really have a control on what the team was going to do. Now I'm looking at this team and quotes that came out earlier in the season saying that after the Newcastle game, he felt like this team was soft and he advises his team to get into more tackles, get more stuck in, and do the dark arts. And then he's coming out and saying, but the players don't listen to me. I tell the players this, but they don't listen to me. Bro, now I'm trying to understand maybe why they don't listen to you. You do what you did with Mattson, put him at the halfway line, about to sub him in. You concede a goal. We need to win. We need to score a goal. Let me land minimums. We need to score a goal. And then you tell them, you know what, never mind, change your mind. Get back on the bench. How are players supposed to respect you?
Yeah.
How are you supposed to look up to you and be responsive to you? So I think there's more going on in that locker room. then
If anything, that is conviction. That is conviction. I changed my mind. Go sit your ass down. You play for me, not the other way around. Madsen's done nothing to warrant any sort of ego, bro. You've had 1 year in the championship.
But he's probably not the only one that feels that way, though. Is what I'm trying to say.
But I don't understand this whole argument. Because you know what I think the problem is now? It's what we said earlier. We're inflating that one performance and it's making it a bigger issue than it really is. Like, we haven't won there in like 7-8 years. So already,
not just the performance, Alexis. Though it's like it's
it is the performance.
But hold on, but it's the consistently
You also
inconsistent.
had the few opportunities, bro. And if Mudryk made the right decisions, etc., you wouldn't be blaming for them.
No, because even if we took our chances, Man United still had more clear-cut chances than we did.
Listen, guys.
For every big chance we had, United had 3.
I just don't want us to rewrite history. I wish we would have lost that game. I wish we would have lost that game 7-1, so people could stop downplaying how bad that game was.
And I want Alexis to respond, obviously, but real quick, Alexis, just want to say this, like, okay, based off of the game, Alexis, would you say even if we won that game, if everything happened the way it did, right, and we ended up scoring those goals that we didn't score and we win the game, would you still say and come out of that game that we played well? You would probably say we played like absolute shit.
I agree with you. I think first half we played horrible. Second half, I think Poch actually did make some adjustments because United's chances limited, but so did ours. Because the game wasn't very basketball-y. Yeah, it wasn't like an open. But the problem, what I also think is for me, the big problem is right now at this moment in time with Pochettino. I think people just want to beat him with a stick that is unfairly earned. Like, we don't talk about his job at Southampton. We don't talk about his job at Tottenham, how he got them basically to second place with a team that had no right. Yes, it didn't work out at PSG, but you're judging him off 15 games in the league, 18 altogether, Marshall. Like, you're not giving him the praise for beating Brighton, who are technically better than us at this moment in time. They're in Europe.
Don't forget PSG destroyed Man City and Bayern.
Like, I think, it's very easy now to like nitpick on his negatives and not focus on his positives. We need stability. You can't like just sack managers because I don't like little elements of him. I don't think he's as bad as he's making it sound. Like the Brighton win when we went down to 10 men. You don't think he managed that perfectly? You don't think he highlighted leadership?
We got lucky in that game, if we're all being honest. Brighton should have won that game.
Brighton couldn't break you down.
We got lucky. We got lucky, bro.
We did get lucky, bro. Listen, I'm not a fake fan. I'm never gonna lie about a performance, a win, a loss, and I'm gonna always be honest. Similar to how we talk about that champ. Yeah. I know. Listen. Don't give me the. Listen, I have seen many a 10-man performance where we have dominated games with 10 men.
But they're better.
Let's not do that.
But they're better than us.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem. Listen. Hold on. Wait. Really quick. I'm gonna say this, Alexis. Let me say this really quick to you, and tell me. I listen. I hear you, but I'm gonna say this and tell me if you have an argument for me. Why is Aston Villa and Emery in a title race, but we are excusing Poch for what's going on regardless? Take just that small context out of it, because Aston Villa have had a lot of their own issues with their own boards, with their club, everything. And all I want to say is Emery right now is in a title race. They're not going to win. They're going to fall out, but they're in a title race.
Two reasons.
So
Two reasons. Number one, Emery's been there. Emery's been there longer than what's it called?
Wait, let me answer this.
Emery's been there longer than 18 games, so he's built his own team. And secondly, look at the spine of their team, compare it to the spine of ours. Yeah, Watkins is better than Jackson. But
Poch signed off. This is the problem I have with it. Yes, the recruitment is to blame. I didn't say he did sign players. I'm saying he had the right when he came in. Listen. In the summer, Poch had a right. If they would have said, we're buying Jackson, we're buying this, and he said, I don't want those players, go find other players, they would have looked for other players. Because he said he wanted Enzo, and they got him Enzo.
No, they didn't. They got Potter Enzo.
Not Enzo, excuse me, Caicedo, sorry.
No, bro. I think the argument is, I don't think Poch has any say.
Absolutely,
I think they literally delivered. Because Poch openly said, we need experience. They got in Cole Palmer.
Wait, so which one is it though? Is he a yes man or does he have say?
Bro, he's
I'm
a
trying
coach.
to get
He's not a
people to.
manager. He's a coach. He's not a manager. He's not hired to recruit players. He's
You guys
hired to
So
coach
we're
players.
agreeing. Okay, guys. So we can agree he's a yes man. If we can agree on that, I move
Why does that
past.
make you a yes man? Why does that make you a yes man? In your role, right? In your role, you're hired to coach. If I'm a chef, right, and my job is to cook the food, but my agreement is I have no say on the ingredients. If they bring me the ingredients and I have to cook whatever the ingredients are there, that doesn't make me a yes man. My job is to cook, not to allocate resources.
Alexis, do you think that if Mourinho was at Chelsea right now before the season started and he was saying I want experienced players,
they wouldn't hire Mourinho? You're saying hypothetical.
No. We're talking about the hypothetical of a yes man. Do you think Mourinho? Do you think Mourinho would be saying I want experienced players and would be happy when we're signing Jackson and Palmer and all these guys? Do you think he would just say
Mourinho
he would just say nothing after that?
Because he knows the criteria?
Yes, but then that proves the point though. That proves the point. You're saying you want experienced players, but you're saying nothing when they're buying Palmer.
No, because
when they're buying
I think the difference is Mourinho wouldn't have taken the job in the first place.
Exactly. That's
but that proves the point in that if you don't want these players, say you don't want them.
Say you don't want them.
Say you don't want them. Say you don't want them.
You're living
don't
in
take
a
the job.
naive
Or
world.
don't take the job. But if you're willing to be a yes, but if you're willing to be a yes man, then it's fine to take the job. You just say
Bro,
I don't want.
You know what,
I want experienced
I'll tell you
players,
one
but
thing.
it's fine if they come.
It's evident you're not an adult in a working environment then, because if you're saying it's a yes man by going to work and doing your job, he gets paid to coach a team. He doesn't get paid to assess which players we buy. He actively said that on many occasions. He's in the winter. He said, "I want to have more of a say." He publicly said that in the press conference.
He gets coached to. He gets paid to coach the team, as does Mourinho. As does Pep, as do all these other guys. But guess what?
Their script is different.
Guess what? If those guys were in his role and they were saying, "I want experienced players," they're not gonna be silent about it when it doesn't happen. They're not.
Bro,
So we can accept.
You're talking nonsense, bro.
No, we're not. No, it's not nonsense. It's not nonsense.
Pep is one of the greatest managers ever.
And you don't want to look at the positives.
It's not nonsense. Pep was giving Calvin Phillips. When Man City got Calvin Phillips, I told my brother, I said, Calvin Phillips is not going to play for Man City. Why? Because he's not Pep's player. So Calvin Phillips comes in, doesn't step foot on the pitch once. I think he's
David Washington playing? Is David Washington playing? So wait, hold on. Let me ask you.
David Washington is not. Okay, yeah, go on.
They paid 17 million for him. You think they're happy with him sitting on the bench? Noni Madueke. They paid 30 million for him. You think they're happy for him sitting on the bench? No. Well, if he was a yes man, he's playing every single one of them, trying to develop these players even more the way. He's actively, on numerous occasions, come out in the most polite way. He can't come out the way you're coming out and I'm coming out saying, if I don't get these players, I'm going to leave. He can't do that. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. We hear him talk.
Actually, after listening to what you said, I think there's a truth in both, actually. I think he's, like, not entirely a yes man, but there are clear things where it's like he is just allowing it. Because the reality is, I know you're saying he, in the nice way, he's benching these players and doing this stuff and, you know, not like Mourinho playing left backs and like the striker role and shit, but at the same time, his neck is on the chopping block and he knows that. And that's why people are making this criticism. Because before he took that job, you know he sat there and watched Potter get ridiculed and then sacked. So you know he was like, okay, I see this just happened to this manager. How am I going to do this differently? I should probably tell them this is what I need. This is what I need to work with in order to have a better scenario and outcome. But I do hear you. I did change my mind a bit.
Don't you think he's like how many times have any of you like applied for a role? In the role, in the interview, they glow it up. Oh, you're going to be able to do this. You're going to be able to do this. You get into the role. 3 months in, you're like, rah, this wasn't exactly what the job description said. Do you think they said to him, we're going to give you all these kids when he signed? Once you're in the role, you have to make do with what role you're in. Otherwise, you walk away from not like our salaries where it's 30, 40,000 or 60, 70,000. You're walking away from 8 millions. 8 million, 10
I think they did. I think they did because you can even see in press conferences when he's saying, yeah, it's a project, it's a process. So of course he knows what he was coming into. He knows. But the
Based
problem
on what happened with Tuchel, I think they did because the whole
That's the thing,
smash
guys.
with Tuchel was that. Yeah, go ahead, Marshall.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to steel man Alexis's position on this. To be honest, I don't want Poch to really have a say in the players that he's gonna bring in, because if Poch had a say, we'd probably be talking about Lautaro Martinez and not Action Jackson up front, and I don't want that. And honestly, Ugarte, and we're also we're forgetting that Tuchel's talent ID was horrible. So I don't.
Oh, we're not forgetting it was.
Yeah, I don't really want the manager to really he can probably tell the recruitment hey, I need a striker, I need this style of profile, whatever. I don't really want him picking the players and saying, no, I don't want that, no, I don't want this and that. I almost rather him not really have a say. So yes, be a yes man in this position and let the recruitment help you develop and find a team or a player that suits what you need in this team. Now, the development or the recruitment, questionable. There's still a whole season to be had, but at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a yes man on this occasion.
But there has to be
a balance, though, right? He is
a
yes man. No, but there is 100% that needs to be a balance. But the murmurs we hear from Poch in press conferences where he's like, we need experience. And for example, today people took it, yeah. He's made a comment. He was like, oh, of course we're going to compete for top 4. He said, but maybe not now, but in the future. People are like, oh my God, he said in the future. Bro, in the future can mean in 6 games time if we win.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Do you know what I mean? People are literally now, because they want him out, they will say whatever, the little thing.
Oh, I know what you're saying. You're talking about the people that really have the actual agendas, because they never want to see Poch in the club. Yeah. Those are dumbasses. We don't do that here. We don't do that.
And the thing is, I agree with you guys, right? In a realistic world, I would love my manager Poch to come out and say, look, the reason we're like this is because we have no experience. I want experience right now, and if I don't get it, I'm going to walk out. But he's not going to do that because he's an adult in an employee, in a company that is worth billions, and he will get fired on the spot and lose out on £8 million a year or whatever he's on. We need to be realistic and calling I don't think there are yes man managers. I genuinely don't believe it because they all have egos.
The concept. I get what you're trying to say. You don't believe in the concept of it.
Yeah,
and that's different.
They all have egos. And they all know what they agreed to join. Remember Conte and the Levy. Surely you don't want that.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel for me, I just feel even, the yes man thing aside, I just feel I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't think our players are that shit that we should be where we are. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't think they're that shit.
Can I ask you a question? You sack Poch tomorrow, who are you bringing in? Be honest.
I mean, I would try. I'm not gonna say it's gonna come in. I would try to bring in Hansi Flick. That's who I would try to bring in. Now,
Flick with kids, guys. Flick with kids.
What are you doing?
Are we being serious?
Flick with kids. That won't work.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's how I know we don't have a plan, because I'm all for the let's sack Poch game, right? But then you're saying bring in Hansi Flick, but we're supposed to be doing a youth kid project that we put $1 billion into. So then we're completely going against what we're doing before.
So, I mean,
we're just we're fucking around.
But then the problem is if that's the case, if we have these kids and it's about building the kids up, what manager are you going to get in then?
But
what manager are you going to get in? Because for me, but for me, I feel like the position of the kids is a arbitrary factor. It's not really relevant. If a coach can coach, it doesn't matter if you got kids there or not. If they have the talent, if he can actually coach them, then he can do something. Because the reason why I said I don't think the players are that bad is because I can see that there's attributes that they have that are good, but they all lack a clear sense of decision making, and that's where the coach comes in.
It's consistency.
That's where the coach comes in.
No, and this is where I think where people are missing it. I think we're not lacking their decision making tends to get better with the more repetitions you have in positions, right? Mudryk has played under 100 league games. Jackson has played under 100 league games. Colwell has played under 100 league games. Enzo has played under 100 league games.
Experience matters.
Experience is massive, bro. And like, you're trying to tell me this season, if we had Nkunku, if we had, for example, a centre back like Varane and Casemiro, a striker that's got Olivier Giroud, we wouldn't be higher up the league. Of course we would be. It's experience.
Of course we would be. Yeah.
I think we've gone down an avenue now, right? Where we've got way too much inexperience. Way too much inexperience.
Wait, it's true though. Like I said, there's a truth in all of it.
It's the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, but that's why I want managers who are gonna have those training sessions where they're telling players, "I want you to do this. We're gonna repeat this again and again and again and again."
Wait.
That's the kind of manager.
How do you know he's not though?
That's the kind of.
I'm not even a Poch defender. This is why I'm saying real quick. I'm not even a Poch defender. Trust me,
Poch is first and foremost a defensive coach. He doesn't want to lose first and foremost. Like even as much as like if you
so
go back
Mourinho.
Yes, but exactly. I mean I don't want Mourinho anyways. If you go back to when if you go back to when Poch was at Tottenham, because people like to bring up the Man City matches that they won. Look at the stats of those matches. Tottenham were having like 2 shots, 3 shots, and winning in those matches. Because his key thing is defense. I want a manager who's going to be expansive and who's going to have certain principles of play that are going to become automatic for the players. Those are the kind of managers. That's why you get a Hansi Flick. All these kind of managers. That's what they do on a training field. Look at Germany. Look at Germany in the World Cup.
And look
right
how
now.
Bad, and Germany's execution, right? How poor was Germany? So why do you know?
Wait.
You're painting what's called a negative brush on Poch due to his players' execution. Yeah, for Mudryk not being able to connect passes in the final third, Jackson not finishing, Sterling for being poor. But you're giving Hansi Flick a pass. Why?
You guys used to do this to Tuchel too when the attackers were poor. At a certain point in time, there's a balance. Like the players got to take ownership, and at the same time, I agree with you. Poch is sort of defensive, so I can understand if you're saying like there's truth in all of it. Like if you're saying, okay, honestly, I want an attack possession-minded manager similar to Ange, right? That's why I said right now I respect Ange more than I respect Poch. If people want to know the blunt, honest truth, even though they've lost 5, I believe, it's because Ange has not gone away from his tactics. He has lived and died, even if it's naively and it's a fair criticism, by his tactics. That lets me know if he gets better players, he's going to be a problem.
There you go.
So my thing with Poch is, and I'll finish this and then I'll let you land your point, is Poch would stop getting so much criticism, and this is to you, Alexis, if he actually just does his tactical nuance. If he sticks to his guns, if he stops playing Levi in left back, if he stops putting Cole Palmer as a goddamn 8, if he does these things, and I know injuries I know the context. We all know the context of our club. But he has to stick by his guns. Because what it's happening is he's giving people PTSD like Potter. And that's, once you do that, it's over. You're already an ex-Spurs manager. That's why he's getting these agendas. But there's a balance in both, is all I'm saying.
And
these players got to finish. No, wait, really quick. These players got to finish. These players have to fucking finish. It's been before Potter, before Poch, before fucking Tuchel. Fucking 8 years, bro. 8 years at Chelsea, we've had shit attacks.
That's the key
thing,
man. But Alexis, that's kind of where I was getting at with my point, being that like you're playing players at a position. You don't have the bravery to take risks. You're playing it safe. And even in a tactical game like United, where you see a tactic that you're using isn't working, at least with Tuchel, when we were saying, dude, stop with the 3-4-3 for the longest time. 3-4-3 wasn't working. We were being found out. What does he do at halftime versus, I think it was Spurs? He goes 3-5-2, and then it changes it completely. We end up, I don't remember the result. I think we ended up winning the game.
But the thing is, don't you think Tuchel is like Alexis, top 5 manager?
Yeah, he is.
So I hesitate because not as of recently, but sure, I'll give you. Yeah.
No, I think he is. Who else is there?
You can't compare him. You're comparing like an average, like, sorry for like if anyone, you're comparing a 6 with a 9. Like a girl that's a 9 out of 10 with a 6. Like, what are we doing over here?
I understand, but that's partially,
the problem.
David, real quick. That's
That's the
partially
issue.
why I never really rated Poch to begin with. I didn't think he was that good. I think a lot of my bias against Poch was tainted from the Spurs fans just completely shitting on Mourinho because they missed their champagne football. And look at what that champagne football got them. It didn't get them anywhere except for a final, which sure, that's, I guess, a big accolade when it comes to Spurs. But at the end of the day, dude, you didn't win a trophy. And at Chelsea,
Mourinho could have won him a cup.
You need to, Mourinho could have won him a trophy. You need to win trophies. You need to get results in when it comes to Chelsea. And listen, say what you want about his time at PSG. It took him until the second season to do the bare minimum, which is win the league with PSG. So
didn't he win the league in the first year, if I'm not mistaken?
No, I think
Lille won it.
It was Leon won it.
Yeah.
All this gives me reason to doesn't give me confidence in Poch. But go ahead, Alex. You were going to say
we
something.
all agree, don't we, that he's not going to be like. Imagine you have.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, you said that in the beginning. Like he's not going to take us.
He's just cleaning up the ship before we get to the gold. Like let him do that job. Just let him do it, because the thing is, the reality is
he's not wrong about that.
You're just putting more shit on it.
Yeah, I mean, no, the thing is, I think we all feel like he's going to be here to the end of the season, right? I mean, he's not going to get sacked.
100%.
I don't think he's not going to get sacked.
I really don't think so.
Unless he's 14th and below, yes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, to be honest, I'll be very honest. I'm a Chelsea fan, and if I see a problem, I want it rectified straight away. Mm-hmm. The other issue is, what I'm worried about is, like, if he stays at this club and we continue to do this thing where we're going up and down, or just become shit anyways, you're building a losing culture. And we can already see, like, from last year to now to this year, like, you can already tell the mentality of the team is not really a mentality of, like, when we lose, it's really, really terrible. It's like, it's the end of the world. It's more like when we lose, okay, yeah, cool, we lost, we go again next week. Like, and that's the other thing I'm worried about with him being here. So if I had my way, I'm speaking to Hansi Flick and seeing if I can get him in as soon as possible.
That's what I mean. Like me and Alexis,
I'm gonna go to bed. Yeah, because I need to be up at 6.
By the way, Alexis, me and you completely agree. He's gonna get the time, and he's the manager that's just gonna develop this, but he's not gonna take us to top 4 Europe or any of that. But go ahead. Land your point, and then we're gonna call it.
Yeah. By the way, I've really enjoyed this debate. I'm not gonna lie to you, lot.
Of course, man. You're always welcome.
What I'm gonna say about that, like, personally, I would have hired Ruben Amorim from Sporting, because I love the way he plays football. I love the way he works, like, with young players and has a blend of senior players. The reason I've watched a lot of Sporting is because of my father-in-law. He's Portuguese. He's a Benfica fan, and we always watch Portuguese football together. Whenever I go over, we rewatch games of the weekend from the league. That's the way we bond in it. So I've watched enough of this man to know he is capable enough to take this Chelsea job and do the project they want. The one question I'm going to give you guys, look at the managers we were linked with in the summer and look who they hired, right? They hired Poch, Potter. Then the 3 candidates, it wasn't Enrique and Nagelsmann like a lot of the fans wanted and thought. It was Company, Pochettino, and Ange Postecoglou. So what makes you think, right, if Poch gets sacked, we're not going to be looking at Thomas Frank. We're not going to be looking at managers of that caliber around Europe, like the Feyenoord manager. They're not winners. I think we need to remember the culture that we know is gone. It's gone. And I agree with you, bro. We have a loser's culture. I got pissed off when Disasi hugged the Man United player when he fouled him. I got pissed off, when Mudryk is high-fiving Anthony because of their flop-off. I got pissed off, like, when I see Matson commenting on Amrabat's pictures after they whooped our ass. But
Jackson going to Villarreal.
That's just the culture that they've created. Yeah, Jackson going to Villarreal, brother, and asking for nudes of an OnlyFans model girl, and getting baited out. We've become a banter club. Like, we've literally become a banter club. And sadly, this is the team that we've inherited now. And I like the question is, do you trust this board, this recruitment team, to go after the managers that you mentioned, or do you expect the tier below Poch, Thomas
I
Frank?
think so. The only hope I have, I think that's a great point. The only hope I have is that, as we've seen, they've had a strategy of buying young players. They're seeing now, I hope, that okay, maybe this isn't the right way to go. And we're already here in chat. Okay, in the January or in the summer, we're gonna go for more experienced players, right? In that same way, if you get rid of a Poch, is then not the same kind of thought process going to go in your head in terms of like, maybe we should stop going for these kind of, unknown, up and coming managers. Let's go for something a bit more established, something a bit more set.
That's a fair. Listen, without doing the land of hypotheticals, because I get Alexis's point. He's really saying like, based on track record, I can't trust that, and based on track record, I couldn't trust it either.
Evidence,
so
like what we've seen.
Yeah. So if that's the evidence, this is really how we need to play the cards, man. And I really can't believe it. Go ahead.
Building off of what Alexis said too, and I said this earlier in the stream, I don't trust this board to elect the correct manager. At this point, it's just throw paint on the wall and see what sticks. Oliver, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. It's just this whole thing about if this ownership will go for the tier below Poch. Well, if we look at Newcastle, you would have said what when Steve Bruce was still their manager, and then when they were looking at Eddie Howe, you would have said that Eddie Howe is in that sort of Thomas Frank tier of manager, and look at how well he's done just by implementing a style and playing players in the correct roles, and even giving them new roles that they didn't have before but made them better, like Joe Linton. So I don't mind a quote unquote lesser tier manager. Just give me what I want. That's all it is at the end of the day. Give me.
Oliver, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Would you be happy with being 7th as a Chelsea fan? Be honest.
In what context? Now or just in general?
I just mean, like, you see, like, everyone really is praising De Zerbi and Eddie Howe, right? For the jobs that they've done. And I think the reason why they're doing such a fantastic job is because their fan bases are happy with what's happening at the club and they have lower expectations. So when they do drop points, there isn't that pressure of, oh, you know what? You drop points, this is a travesty. It's more like, oh, you know what? It's fine. We've already won a few games this year. So it keeps a more happy environment. That's why I think players like, for example, Anthony Gordon. Gordon's got 4 league goals this year, 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken. If Chelsea, Nicholas Jackson has 6, Raheem Sterling has 6, and we're acting like it's a catastrophe, don't you think the expectations at Chelsea Football Club are just so superior that it's just a completely different role, and those managers won't be successful? Like, look at Potter.
We won the Champions League in 2021. That's what happens. It wasn't like we were just some dusty club. We were winning FA Cups. We were competing in finals. If we went to 3 or 4, I'm actually delusional now. We went to 3 to 4 back-to-back FA Cup finals and then a Carabao Cup final. And that's what happened. Yes, the expectations are too big, but people are going to have to come back down to reality. It's gone, people. It's gone. I'm not saying we can't ever be big again, but right now we're different.
But this is what I mean, though, right? And I don't think, for example, Eddie Howe could replicate the job he's doing at Newcastle, at Chelsea Football Club, because I think we would be, because Eddie Howe started slow. Eddie Howe started really slow at Newcastle, and no one remembers that.
Marshall, your argument's holding weight now about getting a better manager now. You're actually arguing into his point, because what you just said was if Eddie Howe came to Chelsea, the pressure would kill him. So why not get a more established manager where the pressure won't kill him? And now I'm sort of leaning to that directive as well.
So what we're saying then, it's an impossible job because you've got experienced managers who would suit the job but won't take it, and you've got inexperienced managers that we'd be targeting but couldn't hack it.
I don't think
so. It's a poison. It's an impossible job. Poison chalice.
Poison chalice. Yeah.
Hold on. But that's the thing though. Like there were expectations for Newcastle fans and Tottenham fans and what was the other club that you named? De Zerbi. The Brighton job is a little bit of an anomaly. Brighton. But I would even argue right now, like De Zerbi is kind of showing his colors. He's not as nearly as good as people touted.
I'd swap that out for Aston Villa then.
Yeah.
No, but then look at it. You just proved my point. Spurs fans are wanking. They're wanking in public, even though they lost 5 games in a row.
Mm-hmm. But Alexis, when Ange first came in, these Spurs fans didn't want him. There was no expectations, and even when they do lose, the expectations is low because it's.
I can't lie; they were so sick of Conte and Jose that they didn't even want.
But a lot of these fans, that was Ange Pochettino wasn't their first choice. They weren't excited about it. They didn't have high expectations to Ange Pochettino when he came in. So when you have a high name like when you look at that short list that was given to Bowley and Co. and we saw it, all of us here, for the most part, probably other than Alexis probably wanted Amarin, but most of us in the Chelsea fan base wanted Poch because we knew who Poch was. We didn't know who these other guys were. So I think the expectation also comes with the name recognition. So when you don't have a name, then it's like, all right, we'll see what happens. Like, all right.
No, I think
if we win, we win. We don't.
And that's why I said when people were saying the board was stupid for doing, I said they're not stupid. It's a strategy, but it's not worked because football is not a zero-sum game. It's not a game where it's like, oh, you just do something and it's definitely going to work. We're just playing cards. We're hedging our bets, and we're hoping that things are going to work out. My thing is, I prefer going for a name like a handsy flick because I feel like there's more chance of that working out than going for a lesser name. That's why I'm making that decision. Now it's like I said, if you make the decision and it doesn't work out, that's fine. How are you going to rectify it? That's the question.
And this is where I go back to, and we'll end it on this because it's getting late, guys. But this is where I go back to. It's on the board now to just put paint out there and see what sticks. If they want to bring in a big manager and see if that works, maybe it works. If they want to bring in a nobody and that works, maybe that works. So at this point, I don't trust them to make a sound decision. They're going to make a decision in the end, regardless. And we can just hold our breath and hope it works. That's I think we all can agree on that. And it's probably going to end up being that. So, I mean, that being said, Alexis, you want to just give yourself a plug? Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you as always. You're always welcome on these shows, man.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna repeat it again. Marshall, you get like really good casts together. It's really enjoyable debates. Like sometimes I'm at the gym, I listen to it, and like it's really fun. So you're doing a great job here. But thanks, man. Guys, if you guys want to find me on the Kafka's View, I don't know if Marshall can most probably put the link below. So for you guys to go find it, I just do what's it called Chelsea content, where I talk about the transfer news, post-match reactions, and previews. Essentially, you get my opinions in quick video form. I don't do streams, so it's like 13 minutes max, 14 at the most. And you basically get your Chelsea intake of what's on Twitter, but in video formats that you don't need to read. And and you get my opinion with it. And
that's pretty smart.
It's a great
actually.
Community. It's a great. Sorry.
No, I said that's pretty smart, like innovative to go for a visual Twitter format is, I'm presuming, what you're going for.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's like a really simple way, like, and I'm really proud of the community I built up. Like there's nearly 32,000 subscribers.
Yeah, man.
I consistently get around about 800 likes on the videos, which is like really high performing in the YouTube metrics amongst other Chelsea YouTubers. And it's polite. Like there's no one calling anyone an arsehole, anything like that in the comments, which is like super nice to see. There's a good chat. So if you guys it's a good community.
The link is there.
Thank you very much for letting me
plug. Chat. Of course, my guy. Of course, you're always welcome. Old friend of the channel. Always a good friend. But yeah, guys, the link for Alexis's channel is in the chat as well as in the description. I just put it there. And check out his content, man. This guy's doing big things. We just saw him with Miz, and he's going to be doing more partnerships as likely in the future. So big things for Alexis.
Eunice is in the work, literally.
Hey, man, it's going to be good. It's going to be good, and I'm all here for it. I'm happy for how far you've come, man. But yeah, big up to everyone who came into the call-in show. I think we've had a very enlightening discussion on the whole Pochettino situation, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I think most of us think he's going to stay till the end, and if he does, maybe he turns it around. I'm still Poch out, but regardless,
we're in the mud. We're in the mud.
Everyone, go ahead. Everyone, go ahead, smash up the like button, as it does help the channel grow and get working with the algorithm and getting us out there. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. We are on our way to 3K, so help us get there by hitting that subscribe, hit the bell notification so you are notified whenever we do go live. I know this live stream was a little bit unannounced, but even being unannounced and not being, the usual day, which is Wednesday for the call-in show, you guys still showed up. So big up to you guys in the chat as well. Check out the links in the description below for all the links for the Twitter, Discord, all that fun stuff, my link tree. Comment down below, let us know what you guys' thoughts are, what your solutions are for Chelsea going forward. I'm interested to see that, and I do look at the comments, so if there's some cool comments down there that are a bit engaging and mind-boggling in a good sense, I guess. I don't know, I forget the inverse of that, which is the correct form of saying it, but regardless, yeah, leave them down below. I'm sure I'll see them and engage with that. And big up to our members as well. At the end of the show, if you're a proper casual and a higher tiered member, I'd like to give you guys some shout outs. So that's going to be going out to OG Turbo Jesus, Dark, Scott, Adrian, and Will. Big up to you guys for being supporters at the tier, the proper casual and higher tier. And big up to everyone else who is a member. We're going to be going ahead and rating, who are we rating? I think we're rating This Is Football. So go ahead and copy and paste the raid message that I put in the chat for you guys. Let them know where you are coming from, and don't let them banter you, okay? But guys, say what's up to Don Hassam over there on This Is Football. I'll see you guys very soon. I think the next show is going to be either the Casually Chelsea show or reacting to the game. So go ahead and check us out then. But as always, have a wonderful night, guys, and stay casual. I'll catch you soon. Peace.